Chu Chen, you are a bastard. Zhonghai, Guanshan Lake, and Red Leaf Courtyard. The most expensive villa in Zhonghai is worth 10 billion. In the spacious bedroom, a young man and woman were lying on a luxurious bed, both naked. The beauty is called Shen Qing, and she is the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai. A ray of sunlight shone through the window, giving her skin a faint glow. Lying on the bed, her figure is even more curvaceous and graceful, with an almost perfect S-shaped curve, which is breathtakingly beautiful. With a soft moan, Shen Qing woke up. When she opened her beautiful eyes, she saw that she was naked at first sight. She jumped up in fright. What's going on? I'm not wearing any clothes. The person in is Chu Chen. It turns out that the bad guy is Chu Chen. Shen Qing was shocked at first, then angry. The young man is named Chu Chen. He is the king of Zhongnan in the Tang dynasty and the only grandson of Chu Tianan, the governor of Zhongnan. The king of Zhongnan is the only king of a different surname in the Tang dynasty. He is extremely powerful and has dominated Zhongnan for decades. In addition, the Chu family has a long history and has been the largest family in Zhongnan for hundreds of years without any change. Chu Chen's father, Chu Zhaoshang, founded the Zhongnan Group, which is worth trillions of dollars and involves various fields, and is a leader in every field. Zhongnan Group ranks first in comprehensive strength in Zhongnan and the entire Tang Kingdom. Such a person is simply the top second generation of power and wealth. He is known as the national husband in Zhongnan, but he does all kinds of evil and is outrageous. He now serves as the president of Zhongnan Group, and the Zhongnan Group under his management is simply a mess. All the female employees of Zhongnan Group who are even slightly pretty have been called to his office for a physical examination. The entire Zhongnan Group has almost become his harem. Last night, Shen Qing was drunk by her best friend Zhou Ruoxue, and when she woke up, she saw the current scene. After a little thought, she understood what had happened. This bastard is so abominable. He actually used such despicable means to possess her. Did she think that she would fall in love with him wholeheartedly? Dream on. Besides, she likes Yi Fan, and she is going to get engaged to Yi Fan today. This bastard actually took her virginity on the eve of their engagement. The more Shen Qing thought about it, the angrier she became. Chu Chen, get up right here, you bastard. You took my virginity away, and I'm not done with you. Chu Chen woke up and opened his eyes. Seeing the angry Shen Qing, he was immediately startled. He immediately explained in panic, Shen Qing, listen to my explanation. It wasn't me. I didn't take the initiative last night. You drank too much last night, and I couldn't control myself, so what happened next happened. Don't call the police. If my dad finds out, he'll beat me to death. Shen Qing was slightly surprised when she saw Chu Chen's look. Is this guy so cowardly? He is not like this usually. But he didn't think much about it, just thought that Chu Chen was scared. At the same time, he also noticed Chu Chen's vital point. He was afraid of his father, so he continued to shout. Don't try to quibble. You think I don't know that Zhou Ruoxue put something in my drink last night? You bribed her, right? Chu Chen, I didn't expect you to be so despicable and shameless. Let me tell you, for someone like you, even if all the men in the world died, I would not like you. I'm going to call the police right now. I'm going to make sure everyone knows about this, including your dad. Also, the Tang Kingdom has its own laws. Even if you are the grandson of the king of Zhongnan, you cannot do whatever you want. After Shen Qing finished cursing angrily, he walked over, picked up his phone and called Yao Yaoling. Hello, officer, I want to report a case. There's a rape that happened in Hongye Villa by Guanshan Lake. I was raped by a man named Chu Chen. However, she didn't see the teasing light flashing in Chu Chen's eyes. Shen Qing, I beg you, don't call the police, let's settle this privately. I can pay you back. Is 1 million enough? 2 million? 3 million? Chu Chen's playful expression disappeared in a flash, and then he begged like a pug. Chu Chen, you scum, don't think you're so great just because you have a few filthy bucks. I'm telling you, no amount of money will do this time. Shen Qing gritted his teeth. Shen Qing, I've been pretty good to you, right? Can you forgive me just once? No, really, I can't say it 100 times, even if you kneel down and beg me. Okay then. Chu Chen burst into laughter after he finished speaking. Shen Qing immediately had a bad feeling. He looked at Chu Chen warily and shouted, Chu Chen, what are you laughing at? I'm telling you, the police are coming soon. Don't mess around. Shen Qing, I'm playing with you for a bit, do you take it seriously? You don't really think I'm afraid you'll call the police, do you? Chu Chen laughed so hard that he fell forward and backward, which was extremely exaggerated, and his true nature was exposed. Ha ha ha, how naive are you? You don't think you can arrest me, Chu Chen, by calling the police, do you? My grandfather is the king of Zhongyan. Do you think you can call the police to arrest me, Chu Chen, in Tang Kingdom or Zhongyan? What did you just say? King's law. I am officially replying to you now. In Zhongyan, Tang State, I, Chu Chen, am the king's law. Also, Shen Qing, it wasn't me who drugged you last night, and… He walked to the closet next to him, took out a camera hidden in it, and continued, also, the footage taken last night shows that it was you who took the initiative last night. I, Chu Chen, rejected you, but you still pushed me down on the bed. If you want to call the police, I should be the one. After saying that, he laughed even louder. It turns out that he traveled through time and space into this book and became the villain. And this Shen Qing is Chu Chen's mortal enemy and also the protagonist Yi Fan's fiance. As the culprit of the feud between Chu Chen and Yi Fan, Chu Chen had flattered her for many years, taking good care of her, asking about her well-being, spending countless amounts of money, and doing countless stupid things, but in the end, Shen Qing watched him being brutally killed by Yi Fan without a word of help, and did not say a word to help Chu Chen. So Chu Chen carefully designed this revenge on Yi Fan and also on Shen Qing. At first, he was just playing with Shen Qing, but he didn't expect that she was so naive to think that she could call the police to punish Chu Chen. Shen Qing on the opposite side was completely stunned. This bad guy not only designed to take away my virginity, but also filmed it. But immediately afterwards, Chu Chen's next action made her explode even more. The super rich villain starts by stealing Yi Fan's fiance. This is the latest model, the most advanced and technologically advanced, with the highest technical content. It costs a whopping 1.83 million and has a camera with cinematic quality. Do you want to see the footage from last night? It's amazing. After Chu Chen finished speaking, he started playing the video without caring whether Shen Qing was willing or not. No, Shen Qing, don't be impulsive, you are drunk. I really can't, no. Shen Qing, if you continue like this, I'm going to scream. A voice came. Shen Qing exploded on the spot. This shameless bastard. It was clearly him who set me up last night, but when I was unconscious, he still pretended to be a victim. It made it seem like I pushed him down. Shameless and despicable. The more Shen Qing watched, the more unbearable it became. Finally, she couldn't help it and rushed towards Chu Chen hysterically. You bastard, I'm going to fight you. Fight with me. Seeing Shen Qing rushing towards him, Chu Chen stepped aside and at the same time pushed Shen Qing to the ground. Then Chu Chen pressed him to the ground, unable to move. Chu Chen suppressed Shen Qing tightly, looked at this woman, and sneered. Cry. Do you think that if you cry, I will soften my heart? Shen Qing, stop pretending to be innocent. It's useless to me. What about being gentle and considerate to women? It's all bullshit. What good would happen if his predecessor licked her like that? The only person in her heart is Yi Fan. Moreover, in the final ending, Chu Chen was made to lose all his fortune by Yi Fan, and ended up wandering the streets, suffering from various diseases. But Yi Fan did not let him go. He buried him in the sand by the Guanshan Lake and exposed him to the sun for 3 days and 3 nights, making him suffer torture and pain. When he was extremely desperate, he brutally killed him and threw him into Guanshan Lake. And this woman just watched. Shen Qing had no idea what was behind Chu Chen's words, and she wanted to cry but had no tears. Chu Chen's words continued to come to her. I heard that you are getting engaged to Yi Fan today, and it will be at your grandfather's birthday party. Shen Qing, guess what your beloved Yi Fan's reaction would be when he sees these things in my hand? Will he still love you? Every word was like a knife stabbing into Shen Qing's heart, directly breaking down Shen Qing's psychological defenses. This bad guy not only took away his first blood, but also took a video and showed it to Yi Fan. No, Yi Fan can't see it. Shen Qing likes Yi Fan very much and realizes that if Yi Fan sees these things, she and Yi Fan will be finished. And this person can really do it. She begged quickly, Chu Chen, I beg you, you can't let Yi Fan see it. I beg you, it's all my fault just now, it's all my fault, I shouldn't have contradicted you. Beg me. Shen Qing, will you beg me too? Haha. Chu Chen saw that Shen Qing softened when she heard Yi Fan, and immediately sneered. She really likes Yi Fan, she is worthy of being the heroine of the brain-dead cool novel. Besides, hasn't she always been very cold and indifferent to me? Didn't you want to call the police just now? Didn't you want my dad to know? When you were being so arrogant just now, didn't you think about whether Yi Fan would find out? Shen Qing had just discovered that she had lost her virginity and was so emotional that she hadn't thought about this. When she heard Chu Chen's words, she didn't dare to talk back, but just continued to beg, I was really wrong, I beg you, I really beg you, I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. What about last night? Last night I took the initiative, I was shameless, I pestered you. Shen Qing gritted her teeth and said that under the current circumstances, the video in Chu Chen's hands must be destroyed. Even if it was set up by Chu Chen, she could only swallow her anger. Chu Chen laughed when he heard Shen Qing's words. Shen Qing, look at what you look like now. Aren't you a goddess? Aren't you very proud? Aren't you pure and innocent? Only her previous life treated her as a treasure. She was actually the same as other women, just a little more beautiful at best. I'm not a goddess. I was wrong before. I shouldn't have been so cold to you. I beg you, give me this video. You must never let Yi Fan see it. Shen Qing hurriedly said again. Shen Qing, you want to take back what you took last night. Do you think I will give it to you? Chu Chen sneered. Shen Qing said, Chu Chen, what do you want in exchange for giving it to me? Chu Chen looked at Shen Qing and saw that the woman had a pleading look on her face. Like a pug, he walked over, raised Shen Qing's chin with his hand, and said, it's not that I can't give it to you, but you have to satisfy me, understand? Ah, Chu Chen, I just broke it last night, and now you. Shen Qing said with a sad face. That's your business. I have something else to do today. I'll reply right away. Chu Chen said coldly. Shen Qing looked around, then looked at Chu Chen, feeling as if a knife was stabbing her heart. She was drunk by Zhou Ruoxue last night and was unconscious, so she didn't know what happened. But now I am sober. You can imagine how frustrated she felt when she had to have sex with the man she hated the most while she was sober. But Chu Chen is capable of anything. She didn't want Yi Fan to know, so she had to agree. Shen Qing closed her beautiful eyes, and 2 lines of tears rolled down her cheeks. Yi Fan, I really like you, Shen Qing said silently in his heart. She can do anything for Yi Fan. And as long as the evidence is destroyed, there will be no more contact with this person. Will you really give it to me? But Shen Qing was still worried, so he looked up and asked. Chu Chen said with certainty, of course. He paused deliberately and then added, of course it depends on your performance. Shen Qing took a deep breath, clenched his teeth, and nodded. Chu Chen laughed again. Shen Qing, would actually compromise. Compared to last night, I feel more refreshed. Put the camera away. Chu Chen got on the bed, turned around and looked at Shen Qing, and said, what are you waiting for? Shen Qing slowly crawled towards Chu Chen. Chu Chen was not in a hurry. He lifted Shen Qing's chin and said, Shen Qing, do you remember? I waited for you for 3 hours in Bian Park. It was raining heavily that day. That incident was done by his predecessor, but Chu Chen still has an impression of it in his memory. Shen Qing quickly said, it's all my fault, it's all my fault. Also, I bought some milk tea and drove 20 kilometers to deliver it to you. What did you do? You threw my milk tea away in front of Yi Fan. I was wrong, I really know I was wrong. You know what? I really want to know now. How can you be worthy of me, Chu Chen, doing these things for you? What qualifications do you have? What's the difference between you, Shen Qing, and other women? Chu Chen, I didn't know what was good for me before. I'm sorry. Shen Qing kept apologizing. The last sentence is the key point. Let me see how you are different from other women. Chu Chen repeated the reminder. Shen Qing understood. He wanted her to satisfy him. She had to please him. She looked at Chu Chen, gritted her teeth, and moved closer to him in order to get the evidence back. The Shen family villa was brightly lit, filled with laughter and joy everywhere. Although the Shen family is just a small family, they have good connections in the business world. Today, there are many guests and it is very lively. Shen Qing was dressed up beautifully and was looking around at the door early in the morning. Today is not only Shen Wansan's 70th birthday, but also the day when Shen Qing and Yi Fan are getting engaged. Although her virginity was taken away by that bastard Chu Chen last night, and she was coerced into having sex for the 2nd time today, she was no longer worried when she thought that the problem had been solved and she had taken back the video that the bastard had taken and destroyed it. Last night, just think of it as being possessed by a ghost. Chu Chen, you bastard, I, Shen Qing, never want to see you again in my life. When Shen Qing thought of Chu Chen, he felt so angry that his teeth itched. At this time, an electric scooter drove over. When Shen Qing saw the young man on the electric scooter, her beautiful eyes immediately lit up. Yi Fan is here. When I saw Yi Fan and then thought of Chu Chen, they were like heaven and earth. Shen Qing is not a materialistic woman. She likes Yi Fan and Yi Fan also likes her. She wants to grow old with Yi Fan. Qing, I was delayed for a long time delivering the food just now. I'm late. Yi Fan got off the electric scooter, took off his helmet, and said to Shen Qing with a smile. When he saw Shen Qing, he felt like he had endless energy. He calculated that if he worked hard every month, he could earn about 8,000 yuan a month. In a few years, he would be able to save enough for the down payment and build a home of their own with Shen Qing. Shen Qing said, "It's okay, come in quickly. Grandpa has been waiting for you for a long time. This time you helped our Shen family get admission to the Haining Building Materials City. My grandfather praised you highly and even said that after we get married, he would let you come to my company to help. Haining Building Materials City is the largest building materials city in Zhanghai. Countless merchants engaged in building materials business want to settle in, but the number of places is limited, and it is extremely difficult to obtain a qualification. This time, because Yi Fan had saved Zhang Wancheng's life, he used this favor to help the Shen family get this admission qualification. In the eyes of the Shen family, Yi Fan is now a savior, and everyone in the Shen family praises him highly. Yi Fan was also very happy to hear Shen Qing's words. Compared to delivering food, it was obviously better to work in Shen's company. He then walked inside shoulder to shoulder with Shen Qing in excitement. Looking at Shen Qing beside him, he felt very happy. He is finally going to get engaged to Shen Qing today and officially become the son-in-law of the Shen family and Shen Qing's fiance. Moreover, Shen Qing is a very good person. Not only is she beautiful, but she is also not materialistic or snobbish, which is rare in this era. What virtue and ability did Yi Fan have to marry such a wife? What else could a husband ask for? When Shen Qing saw Yi Fan, she had already forgotten what happened last night. With Yi Fan's arrival, the birthday banquet officially began. Before the birthday banquet began, Shen Wansen smiled and took Yi Fan's hand, introducing him to the guests present. Everyone, let me introduce him to you. His name is Yi Fan. This time, our Shen family was able to obtain admission to the Haining Building Materials City thanks to Yi Fan and his relationship with Mr. Zhang. After hearing Shen Wansen's words, the guests at the scene became envious. Haining Building Materials City. That's the largest building materials city in Zhanghai. It's invested over 10 billion. In the future, at least half of Zhanghai's building materials business will be monopolized by Haining Building Materials City. If you can settle in Haining Building Materials City, you will have a promising future. Master Shen, I'm so envious that you found such a good grandson-in-law. I used countless connections and paid a lot of money to get admission to Haining Building Materials City, but I still couldn't get it. It must be that Master Shen is lucky. Having a good granddaughter is better than anything else. Hearing the words around him, Shen Wansen was extremely proud. Although this admission qualification was not obtained by strength, as long as he could get it, what was there to worry about? Moreover, the Shen family has been engaged in the building materials business and has always found it difficult to make a breakthrough. This time, with such an opportunity, they may even become a first-class family in Zhanghai. Including Shen Qing's parents Shen Yuanchao and Li Qin, as well as Shen Qing's uncles, they were all extremely happy and couldn't stop smiling. They looked at Yi Fan, just like a mother-in-law who liked her son-in-law more and more. Yi Fan has now reached the first peak of his life since he could remember. He is an orphan and used to deliver food. He was looked down upon wherever he went. He had never been praised like this before, and he couldn't help but feel proud for a moment. Now I will formally introduce Yi Fan's identity to everyone. He will be the one of my Shen family. Shen Wansen immediately introduced it with pride. Master, Master. Something big has happened, something big has happened. At this moment, the Shen family's housekeeper ran in breathlessly from outside and interrupted Shen Wansen's words. Shen Wansen was immediately displeased. Today was such a nice day, but did old Huang have no eyes? What are you yelling about? Butler Huang, you are also an elder of our Shen family, why are you so reckless? Shen Wansen immediately shouted with a stern face. Butler Huang took a few breaths and said immediately, Master, Master, something serious has happened. The young master of the Chu family is already at the door. Young master of the Chu family. Which young master of the Chu family? The Shen family is just a third-rate small family. How could they have the opportunity to know the Chu family, the richest family in Zhongyan? Therefore, Shen Wansen never thought that it would be Chu Chen. He's the grandson of the king of Zhongyan. Butler Huang replied hurriedly. As soon as the words fell, an unprecedented uproar immediately broke out at the scene. What? Master Chu is here. Why is he here? Could it be that the Shen family has offended him? Mr. Chu, even Mr. Zhang from Haining Building Materials City fawns over him like a lapdog when he sees him. I once went to Zhongyan Group to ask for a meeting with him, but I waited for a whole day and didn't see him. Master Shen, I suddenly remembered that I have something to do at home and I have to leave first. There were even some who were quick-witted and realized that Chu Chen's visit to the Shen family for no reason must be up to no good, so they planned to slip away first to avoid being implicated. When Yi Fan heard Chu Chen coming, he immediately became nervous. He knew that Chu Chen was pursuing Shen Qing. What was that bastard doing here today? Was it for Shen Qing? And Shen Qing exploded on the spot. Chu Chen is here. Why did that bad guy come? But then Shen Qing thought that the video had been destroyed by her, so even if Chu Chen came, she would deny it to death. Anyway, Yi Fan will definitely believe her. Don't just stand there like an idiot. Master Chu is at the door. Come with me to greet him. Shen Wansen couldn't figure out why Chu Chen came, but this evil young man was well known in Zhongyan, and he would often bankrupt people and kill entire families. If the situation today was not handled properly, the Shen family would be in great trouble. So he did not dare to delay at all and hurriedly led everyone in the Shen family and the guests in the hall to the door to welcome them. And so we made our way to the gate. Everyone saw from afar a two-tone Maybach worth 20 million parked outside the gate. Two people were standing next to the car. One was a young man wearing a black slim suit, and the other was a fat man with an obese face. They all couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts, knowing who the young man outside was. Shen Wansen hurriedly walked over with a smile and greeted Chu Chen. Chu Chen squinted at Shen Qing and said calmly, Master Shen, I heard that it's your birthday today, so I came to congratulate you. Shen Wansen was flattered when he heard Chu Chen's words, and quickly invited Chu Chen to sit inside. At the same time, he was relieved to hear that Chu Chen was just congratulating him on his birthday. All the other members of the Shen family were sweating on their backs. Shen Qing knew that Chu Chen was not really here to celebrate the birthday, and he kept looking at Chu Chen angrily, wishing he could eat his flesh and drink his blood. After entering the villa hall, Shen Wansen immediately invited Chu Chen to sit at the main table. After all, with Chu Chen's status, who could be more qualified than him? After Chu Chen sat down, he didn't waste any time and said to Shen Wansen directly, Master Shen, I came here today for your granddaughter. Quote, Chu Chen, I'm warning you, I have nothing to do with you, don't talk nonsense. Shen Qing immediately stood up nervously and shouted at Chu Chen. Yi Fan looked at Chu Chen with hatred. This scumbag really came to find Shen Qing. Shen Qing, what are you doing? How can you talk to Master Chu like that? Apologize to Master Chu. Shen Wansen was frightened by Shen Qing's behavior. The person in front of him was the #1 evil young man in Zhongyan. If she shouted like that and young Master Chu got angry, the Shen family could not afford it. Shen Qing cried out in grievance, Grandpa, this person, he. What is this person? Chu Chen looked at Shen Qing and asked with a smile. You know it yourself, Chu Chen, I didn't expect you to be so shameless. Shen Qing became angry when she heard Chu Chen's words and turned around and said angrily. Is this shameless? Chu Chen sneered. He knew why Shen Qing said he was shameless, but today's drama had just begun. Seeing Shen Qing was about to cry, Yi Fan was filled with righteous indignation and shouted, Chu Chen, you bastard, what on earth do you want to do? I tell you that bullying a woman is not a skill. I'm a bastard. Bullying a woman isn't considered a skill. What about bullying men? When Chu Chen heard that Yi Fan was actually going to stand up for Shen Qing, the light in his eyes turned cold. After saying that, he turned around and looked at Wu Da. Wu Da knew what to do without being told. Wu Da straightened his back, raised his palm, walked in front of Yi Fan, looked at the palm, and sneered. You are a man, now I bully you, boy, you yell at my young master, what is your identity? What qualifications do you have? Slap your mouth, why are you talking so much nonsense? Chu Chen picked up a bottle of motai on the table, took a cup, poured a small cup, and said lightly. My predecessor had done many things like this, bullying others by taking advantage of his power, but it was like a short circuit when it came to Shen Qing. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Da slapped Yi Fan hard in the face, causing his face to tilt to the side and leaving a very clear slap mark on his face. Yi Fan was not a coward. After being slapped, he immediately became angry and said with gritted teeth, Hit me, Yi Fan, am not someone who can be bullied. After saying that, he wanted to fight to the death. Shen Yuanchao was so scared that he hurried forward and grabbed Yi Fan. But Chu Chen played with his wine glass and said lightly, Mr. Shen, what happened today has nothing to do with you. Shen Yuanchao originally thought that Yi Fan was his future son-in-law and didn't want anything to happen to Yi Fan. After hearing Chu Chen's words, he didn't dare to intervene anymore and quickly let go of Yi Fan and stepped aside. Seeing Chu Chen bullying Yi Fan like this, Shen Qing pointed at the door and shouted, Chu Chen, leave immediately. We in the Shen family do not welcome you. What, Miss Shen, are you still feeling distressed? Chu Chen sneered, then looked at Wu Da and said coldly, why did you stop? Pa pa pa. Wu Da immediately raised his hand and slapped Yi Fan several times, making his mouth full of blood. Yi Fan finally couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, this is too much. Yi Fan, will fight you today. After that, he angrily punched Wu Da. Court death. However, Yi Fan did not expect that although Wu Da looked fat and had a lot of loose fat on his body, he was actually extremely powerful. His face darkened, his eyes glared, he grabbed Yi Fan's fist, turned around, and threw Yi Fan out with an over-the-shoulder throw. Bang! A table next to it was smashed to pieces, with the cups and plates on it falling all over the floor. Yi Fan held his waist and couldn't get up for a long time. Wu Da walked over, picked up a wine bottle next to him and smashed it down. Bang! Yi Fan's face was covered in wine and glass fragments were scattered all over the floor. Hundreds of guests in the audience were all shocked and dared not breathe. Shen Qing felt extremely distressed when she saw Yi Fan being beaten, tears welled up in her eyes, and she hurried over to help Yi Fan. But just when her jade hand was about to touch Yi Fan, Chu Chen's cold voice came again. Shen Qing, if you dare to help him, he will die miserably. Chu Chen, said so. Shen Qing was stunned for a moment, turned back to look at Chu Chen, and then said bitterly, Chu Chen, haven't you made enough trouble? Not enough, not nearly enough. Chu Chen snorted coldly. He immediately paused for a moment and continued, but I'm not completely unreasonable. I can give you a chance to choose. Break off the engagement with him immediately, and then call him a loser, a fool, and a bastard in front of everyone. Then you can work as a maid in my Red Leaf Villa for 3 years. I can end it here today. Shen Qing was immediately furious. Impossible, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Haha, you only have 1 minute to think about it. If you spend more than 1 minute, you will definitely regret it. Chu Chen said disdainfully. Shen Qing couldn't stand it any longer, and thinking about the fact that the video evidence from last night had been destroyed, she shouted, don't think about it, I'll reply to you now. Shen Qing, don't agree. I tell you, the whole world is afraid of you, but I, Shen Qing, am not afraid of you. Whatever you want, come on. Shen Qing was also completely provoked by Chu Chen, and actually went all out and yelled at Chu Chen. Chu Chen immediately sneered and asked, are you sure? Well, don't regret what you said. Let's start with Yi Fan. Listen up, everyone in the Shen family. He's actually a liar. Your Shen family doesn't qualify for the Haining Building Materials City. As soon as the words were spoken, there was an immediate sensation at the scene. What Yi Fan? I don't know Yi Fan at all. How is it possible? How is it possible? How could Yi Fan be a liar? I clearly called to inquire about the admission qualifications and confirmed them. How can you possibly lie about something like this? Yi Fan was even more furious at being slandered by Chu Chen. He clenched his fists and gnashed his teeth as he shouted, Chu Chen, you are talking nonsense. You are slandering me. I once saved Mr. Zhang's life. What does it mean that he gave me an admission qualification to repay my kindness? This admission qualification is the key for Yi Fan to gain recognition from the Shen family. Yi Fan's excitement can be imagined. Really? Since you're Mr. Zhang's savior, why don't you give him a call and ask? Chu Chen sneered. Call me if you want. I'll call Mr. Zhang right away. Quote, Yi Fan wanted to prove that he was not lying, so he took out his cell phone and quickly dialed Zhang Wancheng. But no one answered after calling for a long time. Chu Chen laughed and said, why, can't you get through? Mr. Zhang, maybe you didn't hear me. I'll call again. Yi Fan dialed Zhang Wancheng's number again, thinking that he must let Zhang Wancheng tell him in person about the admission qualifications to prove that he, Yi Fan, was not a liar. But still no one answered. Chu Chen laughed even more, still can't get through. I have Zhang Wancheng's phone number, how about I call him? After saying that, he took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhang Wancheng's number in front of everyone, turning on the speakerphone at the same time. Different from Yi Fan, Zhang Wancheng answered the phone almost instantly. As soon as the call was connected, a voice came over, hello, Mr. Chu, what happened today? Why did you think of calling me? Chu Chen glanced at Yi Fan, sneered, and said, Zhang Wancheng, there's a guy named Yi Fan next to me who claims to be your savior. In order to repay your kindness, you gave him an admission to the Haining Building Materials City. Is that true? Mr. Zhang, I'm Yi Fan. I once saved your life. We just met 3 days ago. As soon as Yi Fan heard Zhang Wancheng's voice, he shouted. However, unexpectedly, Zhang Wancheng's voice soon came from the phone, Yi Fan. What Yi Fan? I don't know Yi Fan at all. And the qualifications for Haining Building Materials City were all taken away by young Master Chu, so why would I give it to someone else? When Yi Fan heard what Zhang Wancheng said, he was stunned on the spot. He had just met Zhang Wancheng 3 days ago. Zhang Wancheng received him very warmly and promised with a pat on his chest that he would definitely repay the life-saving grace. The admission qualification to the Haining Building Materials City was no problem at all. Afterwards, the Huang family also called Haining Building Materials City to confirm. There's obviously no problem. Why did you suddenly change your mind? Suddenly, Yi Fan thought of Zhang Wancheng's last words, that all the admission qualifications to the Building Materials City were taken away by Chu Chen. He immediately realized that it must be Chu Chen. It must be Chu Chen who did something behind the scenes to frame him. Chu Chen, you bastard, are you behind the scenes, causing Mr. Zhang to change his mind? Yi Fan roared angrily. This guy is so despicable. Chu Chen laughed. It's you who deceived the Shen family and everyone else, yet you still dare to frame me. Didn't you hear what Mr. Zhang said? He doesn't know you, and the admission qualification you gave to the Shen family doesn't exist at all. Yi Fan, a loser like you is not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Do you think I have the time to frame you? Don't you think too highly of yourself? Yi Fan was humiliated by Chu Chen, and when he thought about losing his qualification to enter and the possibility that his marriage with Shen Qing would be ruined, he became even more furious. He lost his mind again and shouted angrily, Chu Chen, it's true that I am a loser, but I, Yi Fan, am not someone you can humiliate just because you want. Today, I, Yi Fan, will fight you to the death. He actually pounced on Chu Chen again. Humph, wasn't the lesson just now enough? Wu Da snorted coldly, quickly stepped in front of Chu Chen, and kicked Yi Fan so hard that he rolled out like a dead dog. Chu Chen patted Wu Da's shoulder. Wu Da stepped aside and walked straight to Yi Fan who was lying on the ground. He squatted down slowly, looked at Yi Fan, and said disdainfully, you useless guy, what can you use to fight me? Shen Qing is my woman, don't you understand? Shen Qing likes me. Yi Fan roared, his eyes turning blood red. Ha ha ha, really? I'll show you something, and you'll realize how naive you are. Shen Qing has been pursuing me, but I didn't agree to her, so she treated you as a backup. You won't take it seriously, will you? Chu Chen sneered. Shen Qing went crazy on the side. Chu Chen, what are you talking about? I'm chasing you. Why would I chase you, a scumbag like you? You, get out of here. We don't welcome you in the Shen family. Shen Qing, I know you're kind-hearted and afraid of hurting him, but now that things have come to this, I have no choice but to confront him. Also, can you represent the Shen family? If you want me, Chu Chen, to get out, have your grandfather come and tell me. Chu Chen said lightly. How could Shen Wansen dare to offend Chu Chen? After hearing what Chu Chen said, he hurriedly pulled Shen Qing away. Shen Qing, don't talk nonsense. Chu Chen immediately turned around, looked at Yi Fan, and sneered. I know you are not giving up yet, so I'll show you something. After saying that, he took out his mobile phone and opened the video that was edited last night. No, Shen Qing, don't be impulsive, you are drunk. I really can't, no. Shen Qing, if you continue like this, I'm going to scream. A voice came from inside. The entire hall filled with hundreds of people immediately erupted in an unprecedented uproar. And Shen Qing was dumbfounded. Hadn't she already taken the only memory card in the camera and destroyed it? How come there is still a video? Yi Fan couldn't even believe his eyes. He saw Chu Chen being pushed down on the bed by Shen Qing, and Shen Qing flirted with her hair, then climbed onto the bed. Yi Fan felt like he was stabbed in the heart. His Shen Qing, the woman he loves most. Just now, he still felt that being able to marry Shen Qing was the greatest blessing for him, Yi Fan. With such a wife, what else could a husband ask for? However, I didn't expect to see the video of Shen Qing and another man so soon, and Shen Qing was actually the active one. Did Shen Qing really treat him as a backup? The person she likes is actually Chu Chen. Yi Fan's heart was bleeding. Feeling discouraged, he laughed bitterly. He is the dumbest fool in the world. Yes, Shen Qing is so beautiful, how could she possibly like Yi Fan, a delivery man? As he was thinking, Yi Fan, who was born with a paranoid personality, suddenly looked fierce and got up from the ground. Gnashing his teeth, he said in a decisive tone, Shen Qing, Chu Chen, the humiliation you brought upon me, Yi Fan, today will be remembered by me for the rest of my life. If I cannot avenge this, I will do this. After he said that, he suddenly rushed to the table next to him, picked up a knife on the table, put his hand on the table, and chopped it down with a fierce blow. A finger was cut off. Everyone at the scene gasped. This guy is a bit cruel. When Shen Qing saw Yi Fan's broken finger, she was so heartbroken that tears welled up in her beautiful eyes and she shouted, "Yi Fan." But at this moment, Chu Chen suddenly burst into laughter again. "You're still trying to figure out the meaning of the finger, so eat it." Seeing Chu Chen suddenly laughed, everyone's attention immediately focused on Chu Chen again. Everyone is wondering what this number one evil young man in Zhongnan is going to do next. Yi Fan and Shen Qing also stared at Chu Chen angrily at the same time. Because of the video, Yi Fan misunderstood Chu Chen and Shen Qing. He thought that Shen Qing liked Chu Chen and he was just a poor spare tire, being fooled around by Chu Chen and Shen Qing. When he saw Chu Chen laughing, he couldn't help but hate Chu Chen even more. Shen Qing, on the other hand, had a misunderstanding with Yi Fan because she was framed by Chu Chen, and she hated Chu Chen to the core. "Yi Fan, you're still imitating others to point fingers at your ambitions. Do you think you'll have a chance to take revenge in this lifetime? Just because you're a delivery boy. Don't be so ignorant. Let me tell you, this world is about strength. What is strength? Strength means money and power. What do you have? Are you still trying to imitate others in breaking the finger?" Chu Chen sneered at this, his expression suddenly fierce, and he said sternly, "If you don't eat the finger you chopped off today, don't even think about leaving the door." "Chu Chen, don't push me. I tell you, a desperate dog will jump over the wall." When Yi Fan heard that Chu Chen actually wanted him to swallow his fingers, he immediately shouted angrily. "So what if I force you? What do you want to play? Now I just ask you, do you want to eat it?" Chu Chen's eyes widened. This guy even played tricks on Gigi and vowed to take revenge. Did he think he, Chu Chen, was a vegetarian? Yi Fan looked at Chu Chen, his body shaking with anger. He concluded that Mingji was also impulsive, but he didn't expect that this would further anger the evil man Chu Chen. Holding the finger, I couldn't help but feel trapped. The guests at the scene looked at each other in confusion again. "I'll only count to 3. If you don't eat, don't even think about leaving today," Chu Chen said coldly. Wu Da pulled out a dagger from the side, swung it, and looked at Yi Fan. He didn't mind letting Yi Fan bleed. As for killing people, with Chu Chen here, there is no need to worry about any consequences. 3, 2, 1. Chu Chen counted word by word and was about to wave his hand. Yi Fan put his fingers into his mouth, his eyes full of hatred, and began to chew. "Really eat it?" Chu Chen was also a little surprised. "Are your fingers delicious? What did they taste like? Share them with everyone." Chu Chen sneered. "Cut off the finger and point to the ambition." In front of Chu Chen, Yi Fan is the first. Yi Fan's eyes almost bulged out. Although he was a delivery boy and suffered from ridicule, he had never felt as uncomfortable as he did today. His fiancé treated him as a backup, and his fiancé's boyfriend forced him to swallow his fingers. Even Yi Fan, who had always been stubborn and would rather die than bend, had tears in his eyes. "Chu Chen, you bastard. Yi Fan, will never reconcile with you in this life." Yi Fan swore in his heart, but didn't dare to say another word. He swallowed a finger, bone included, whole, then left angrily with his fist raised. Chu Chen looked at Yi Fan's back and couldn't help laughing. This is the protagonist, the one who is supposed to be able to cheat, kill anyone who stands in his way, and even kill Buddhas. Now that you are satisfied, my engagement with Yi Fan is cancelled, and you, Chu Chen, have had enough of your arrogance as the number one villain. You can leave now. Shen Qing felt upset when she saw Yi Fan walking away. She didn't know where she got the courage from, but she walked up to Chu Chen and said viciously. "Shen Qing, originally, I could have given the admission qualification to your Shen family, but your current attitude makes me, Chu Chen, unhappy. I'm officially telling you now. If you want to get admission, come to Hongye Villa and beg me. Listen up, everyone in the Shen family. It's all her fault that your Shen family lost the qualification to enter Haining Building Materials City. Don't blame me, Chu Chen. I have something else to do, let's go." Chu Chen patted his sleeves and went out. Everyone in the audience watched Chu Chen leave. They felt as if the air in the entire hall had turned cold, and they didn't dare to breathe. No one wanted to offend this arrogant and domineering young man by saying something wrong. Everyone in the Shen family was extremely depressed. Today was Shen Wanda's birthday, he had obtained the admission qualification, and Shen Qing was engaged, so it should have been a happy day. However, unexpectedly, as soon as Chu Chen arrived, the birthday party was ruined. Shen Qing and Yi Fan were eliminated, and they were no longer qualified to enter. It was all a false alarm. Especially the admission qualification to Haining Building Materials City is even more critical to the Shen family. That is the capital for the Shen family's rise. Chu Chen, I tell you, I won't beg you. Shen Qing was so angry. I've seen people bullied, but I've never seen people bullied like this. Shouted at Chu Chen's back. Chu Chen, who had already walked into the courtyard outside, sneered when he heard Shen Qing's words and replied, Shen Qing, you will come to beg me. Wu Da sneered behind him. That girl actually dared to challenge the young master. Doesn't she know the young master's skills? If she continues to shout like this, she will only be in a worse situation. Until the two of them walked to the gate of the courtyard. The Shen family members inside realized that they should send Chu Chen away, otherwise there might be adverse consequences, and they hurriedly chased out of the courtyard gate. As soon as I walked out of the hospital gate, I saw the Maybach worth 20 million slowly driving past, and Chu Chen in the car had a serious expression on his face. Mr. Chu, please sit for a while. Why are you leaving now? You haven't eaten yet. Mr. Chu, Shen Qing is young and naive. You must not argue with her. When the Shen family members saw that Chu Chen looked unhappy, they all nodded and bowed to Chu Chen, fearing that Chu Chen would be angry and the Shen family would suffer. 9 sisters are all beautiful. Shen Qing stood at the door, his silver teeth chattering. This bad guy planned everything, starting from bribing Zhou Ruoxue to get him drunk and take away his virginity, then filming a video and using it to frame him, causing Yi Fan to misunderstand him. She, Shen Qing, would never compromise, let alone beg him. Even if I don't want the admission to Haining Building Materials City, I will never ask him for help. Shen Qing swore. Master, isn't this a bit too much trouble? How about I get a few people to tie her up and bring her here? Then you can do whatever you want to her. Wu Da, who was driving in front, had a ferocious look on his face. Chu Chen sat in the back seat, his hands crossed on his lap. He looked out the window at the street scene with a cold gaze and sneered, what do you know? What's the point of just tying her up? I want her to experience despair, and then kneel down and beg for alms from me, so she can also know what it means to beg for help. After saying this, she thought about how her previous life had licked her for so many years, and when he was finally killed by Yi Fan, this woman didn't say a word of pleading, and was cold and ruthless. How could tying her up and killing her like this make her realize what despair and helplessness felt like? She must come to him for help when she is most desperate. And this is just the beginning. I see. Young master likes to play, right? Wu Da didn't know what Chu Chen was thinking and immediately said with a smile, then asked, why don't you kill that kid named Yi Fan? You wouldn't understand. When Chu Chen heard the name Yi Fan, a cold look appeared between his brows. He came from a book originally named, My 9 Sisters Are All Beautiful. Yi Fan was just a loser who delivered takeout, but later he became a villain with the help of his 9 sisters who were extremely powerful. Yi Fan's 9 sisters are more beautiful and charming than each other. And each of them has an amazing ability. For example, Yi Fan's elder sister Li Yue is the chairman of Tianshai Group, one of the largest group companies in the Tang dynasty. She is born in the famous Li family in the imperial capital of the Tang dynasty and is the head of the next generation of the Li family. However, the Li family is not her real trump card. The other sisters are also extraordinary in their own ways and are leaders in their respective fields. Follow the timeline described in the book. Yi Fan's 9 sisters should be finding Yi Fan soon. Moreover, one of them has already infiltrated the Zhongyan group, and the other has entered the Chu family. Killing Yi Fan cannot solve the problem. The key to victory is to capture all 9 of Yi Fan's sisters. If only I could get the help of my 9 sisters. Then the entire Tang dynasty can really do whatever it wants. There was a determined light in Chu Chen's eyes. Since you have traveled through time and become the #1 villain in the book, you must change your destiny and rewrite the final ending. Capture Yi Fan's 9 sisters. Early the next morning, at the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion, a stunningly beautiful woman in a white floral dress with a graceful figure came to the back garden of the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion. Standing at the entrance of the back garden, she glanced inside with her beautiful eyes and called out affectionately, Grandma. Yingying walked towards the Princess of Zhongyan inside. Princess Chen Shanshu, the Princess of Zhongyan, Chu Chen's grandmother and Chu Chen's greatest support in the Chu family, was talking to a few maids in the garden. When she turned around and saw the beautiful woman coming, she immediately smiled and waved, Qing, you're here. Grandma was just about to send someone to call you. Grandma, what's wrong? Are you feeling a little unwell? Sha Qing walked behind Chen Shanshu and took over from the maid behind her, massaging Chen Shanshu's shoulders with a gentle and well-behaved look on her face. Yeah, I feel a little stuffy, and you need to give me 2 more injections. By the way, your brother Chu Chen will be back soon. You have never met him before, so it's a good opportunity for you to meet him later. Chen Shanshu patted Sha Qing's little hand with a smile, and looked at Sha Qing with a little eagerness. The Chu family has been a single-line family for 3 generations, and the continuation of the family line has long been the top priority of the Chu family. This Sha Qingqing is the heir of Medicine King Valley. She has amazing medical skills, is extremely talented, beautiful, and has a gentle personality. Chen Shanshu likes her no matter how she sees her, so she wants to introduce her to Chu Chen. When Sha Qingqing heard the words of the princess of Zhongyan, her beautiful eyes immediately gleamed with light. She smiled as she continued to massage Chen Shanshu's shoulders and said, "Grandma, I heard that brother Chu Chen is now in charge of the Zhongyan group. Under his control, the Zhongyan group is thriving and its business is even better than before. Brother Chu Chen is truly a promising young man." Chen Shanshu was very happy to hear what Sha Qingqing said. Even though Chu Chen was living a life of debauchery and misbehavior outside, in Chen Shanshu's eyes, he would always be her precious grandson. It was precisely because of Chen Shanshu's doting that Chu Chen dared to do whatever he wanted and act lawless. Even Chu Chen's biological father, Chu Zhaoshang, could do nothing about Chu Chen. Sometimes, before Chu Chen had even finished scolding her, the old lady would come with her cane. He was really not to be trifled with. "Chu Chen, you've been smart since you were little. Qingqing, let me tell you some interesting stories about Chu Chen's childhood." The old lady immediately opened up and started chatting with Sha Qingqing with a smile. After chatting for a while, the old lady finally couldn't help but get to the point. She smiled and asked, "By the way, Qingqing, you're not young anymore. Do you have a boyfriend?" Sha Qingqing blushed shyly, "Not yet, Grandma. I've been accompanying my father to study medicine, so I don't have time for a boyfriend." The old lady smiled and said, "That's perfect. Your brother Chu Chen is not married yet. You can meet him later. Maybe you can try to get along with each other." "Grandma, I don't have any plans for that right now." Sha Qingqing's face turned even redder, and she looked shy and angry. Her fair cheeks were instantly flushed, and her pretty face was as beautiful as a flower, as charming and beautiful as the peach blossoms in March. She said this, but her beautiful eyes couldn't help but glance towards the garden entrance. Zhang Wancheng crawled on the ground, feeling very nervous. After just a moment, he was sweating profusely and kept wiping the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. He received a call from Wuda early this morning, saying that Mr. Chu wanted to see him. He did not dare to delay for a moment and rushed to Hongye Villa. This was the first time he was qualified to enter Hongye Villa. He had asked for a meeting outside the door many times before, but was always turned away. With Chu Chen's wealth, background, and strength, there are countless people in Zhongyan who want to curry favor with him. There are even shameless people who send their wives and daughters to Hongye Villa just to win the favor of Master Chu. But Zhang Wancheng was called to the villa today, which must be related to what happened last night. Hearing the footsteps, Zhang Wancheng was shocked and immediately looked up. He saw a stunningly beautiful woman in a black hollow halter dress, dressed in a seductive and sexy manner, walking down the stairs with a cat-like step. He immediately breathed a sigh of relief. "Mr. Chu, please call me next time. I'll be there whenever you call." As the beauty walked, she turned back and greeted the young man at the stairs above. Chu Chen walked down while putting on his clothes. For beautiful women, just wave. This beauty is called Li Mengmeng, a third-rate star who was summoned last night. Want to get a role in a TV series? Chu Chen agreed. Li Mengmeng immediately glanced at Zhang Wancheng who was crawling on the ground, and walked out with a proud step. Chu Chen walked down. Zhang Wancheng immediately felt nervous. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief and hesitantly said, "Mr. Chu, I have already followed your instructions yesterday. Do you have any other instructions?" He first explained that he had no resistance, no objection, and was fully obedient. Chu Chen glanced at Zhang Wancheng indifferently, sat down on the 800,000 yuan sofa in the living room, crossed his legs, looked at Zhang Wancheng with a squint, and said, "Don't be nervous, I called you here to discuss the acquisition." Acquisition. Zhang Wancheng's heart skipped a beat, and he said nervously, "Mr. Chu wants to buy my building materials city." "That's right, 1 billion. From today on, the building materials city belongs to my Zhongyan group." Chu Chen still spoke in a calm tone. 2 beautiful attendants came from behind and massaged Chu Chen's shoulders. Zhang Wancheng immediately put on a sad face, looking as if his mother had died, and said, "Mr. Chu, this building materials city is the treasure of my Zhang family, and I invested more than 1 billion. Your price is 2. You don't want to." Chu Chen looked at Zhang Wancheng coldly. Zhang Wancheng was immediately startled and quickly waved his hands. "No, it's not that I don't want to. I do. Mr. Chu, I do. Okay, 10 billion deal." After saying this, Zhang Wancheng felt like his heart was bleeding. The Haining building materials city must have lost 1 billion. Moreover, his Zhang family had worked so hard to build the Haining building materials city. They were ambitious and intended to monopolize the building materials business in Zhanghai. They would definitely not be willing to do that. But Chu Chen had given the order, so he had to sell it. If it is not sold, it is very likely, not just very likely, but absolutely possible that the Zhang family will go bankrupt within a day, and Haining building materials city will still belong to Chu Chen. Therefore, Zhang Wancheng was decisive and made up his mind to agree to sell Haining building materials city. After all, it could save the Zhang family and give them a chance to make a comeback. But this evil young man's actions are too much. He helped him to attack Yi Fan last night, and today he wants to rob his Haining building materials city. Go ahead. Chu Chen waved. Zhang Wancheng quickly got up, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead with his sleeve, and retreated. After leaving Hongye Villa, he wanted to die. How could he have provoked this evil person? It's all Yi Fan's fault. Chu Chen glanced at Zhang Wancheng's back and recalled Shen Qing's words last night. She would never beg him. She would never bow her head. He sneered. Wu Da, is the car ready? Have you notified me? I want to go back to the palace. After dealing with the matter of Haining building materials city, Chu Chen thought of another thing. Among Yi Fan's 9 sisters, Sha Qingqing is the heir of Medicine King Valley. Her father is also a miracle doctor who once saved Chu Tianan's life. For this reason, he was adopted as Chu Tianan's godson. After that, he disappeared for many years. Somehow, his daughter Sha Qingqing became one of Yi Fan's 9 sisters. This time he suddenly came to Zhongyan and used this relationship to enter the king of Zhongyan's palace. Sha Qingqing can be considered as his godsister. But he helped Yi Fan deal with Chu Chen and the Chu family. Master is ready. Wu Da came running in happily. He usually looked wretched, but he was actually a top master with great strength. He was especially skilled in throwing the knife, and he once killed 981 people with it. Also a human killer. He was later sentenced to prison and was about to be shot, but Chu Chen rescued him from prison, and he became Chu Chen's follower. Chu Chen nodded, then stood up and went out. Outside the Maibach is ready. The servants in the other courtyard formed 2 neat rows and bowed in unison. Hello, master. Chu Chen buttoned up his shirt and got into the car. Under the gaze of everyone, he left Hongye Villa and headed to the Prince of Zhongyan's palace. After returning to the Zhongyan palace, Chu Chen went directly to the back garden to meet the old lady and Sha Qingqing. As soon as they arrived at the garden, the maids at the door all had smiles in their eyes when they saw Chu Chen. The young master was finally back. Chu Chen, the only heir to the palace, not only has a prominent family background, but is also a handsome man. Most of the beautiful maids in the palace have had their health checked by him. Chu Chen has not been back for a long time, and the maids have long missed the young master. Young master. The maids all looked happy, and Chu Shang turned around to report. Chu Chen stopped Chu Shang and walked straight into the back garden. From afar, he saw a stunningly beautiful woman in a white long dress with long hair like a waterfall, like a fairy, giving acupuncture to the old lady. Knowing that she was Yi Fan's 9th sister Sha Qingqing, he walked behind Sha Qingqing without saying a word. Sha Qingqing was so focused that she was completely unaware that a bad guy had come up behind her and was staring at her. After giving the old lady acupuncture, she smiled and said, "Grandma, your illness can't be cured. It can only be maintained through long-term acupuncture. But it's not dangerous, so don't worry. By the way, when will my brother-in-law arrive? Why hasn't he arrived yet? I'm behind you." Halfway through the conversation, a low voice suddenly came from behind. Sha Qingqing was startled. Sha Qingqing turned around and saw Chu Chen, his eyes fixed on her. Her heart began to beat fast as she said, You are Chu Chen's younger brother. Hello, I'm your godsister. My name is Sha Qingqing." Chu Chen stared at Sha Qingqing with a burning gaze and said calmly, "Hello, sister." Feeling Chu Chen's cold tone, Sha Qingqing felt even more uneasy. The princess of King Zhongyan, who was lying on the recliner, sat up and said with a smile, "Chu Chen, you're back. Your sister and I were just talking about you." Chu Chen smiled and said, "Grandma, what are you talking about?" While speaking, he glanced at Sha Qingqing intentionally or unintentionally. Sha Qingqing was surprised. It was the first time Chu Chen met her, but she felt that Chu Chen's attitude towards her was not friendly. "You are not young anymore, it's time to consider getting married." The old lady glanced at Sha Qingqing and said, "Your sister doesn't have a partner yet. You can chat when you have time." When Sha Qingqing heard the old lady's words, her pretty face turned red again. Her original purpose of entering the palace this time was just to use her medical skills and her identity as the granddaughter of King Jongnyeon to enter the Chu family, but she did not have the intention of getting close to Chu Chen. However, seeing that the princess of Jongnyeon was trying to match her up with Chu Chen, Sha Qingqing realized an opportunity. Okay, grandma. Chu Chen agreed immediately and readily. Sister. Fuck, sister. Sha Qingqing is one of Yi Fan's 9 sisters, or to put it bluntly, one of Yi Fan's concubines. This Sha Qingqing seemed to be pure, and she was like that before she met Yi Fan. Moreover, he harbored evil intentions towards the prince of Jongnyeon's palace. Chu Chen didn't mind having some fun with her. Then the old lady looked at the time and said, "It's time for dinner. Let's go eat and chat while we eat. You little brat, why don't you come back to see your grandma when you're out playing?" Chu Chen quickly said, "Grandma, the company has been very busy recently and I can't spare the time." In fact, all the affairs of the predecessor company were handed over to assistants and staff teams, and he himself was a hands-off boss, only responsible for eating, drinking and having fun every day. However, a large group company like Jongnyeon Group is already on the right track, and it can still operate stably even if he doesn't take care of it for a day. The old lady doted on Chu Chen. When she heard what Chu Chen said, she immediately smiled and said, "Company matters are important. You must do a good job and show it to your father, so that he won't scold you in front of me all day long. I can't stand it anymore. You must fight for your dignity." Chu Chen nodded and said, "Grandma, I will." Then the three of them went to the restaurant for dinner. While eating, Chu Chen kept staring at Sha Qingqing. Sha Qingqing felt nervous throughout the whole process. After eating for a while, the old lady mentioned again, "By the way, your sister is planning to open a clinic in Zhonghai. She is unfamiliar with the place, so you can help her." Chu Chen smiled and said, "Of course I should. My sister-in-law wants to open a clinic, so how can I not help her?" Sha Qingqing immediately said with a smile, "Thank you in advance." Chu Chen said meaningfully, "Sister, you should thank me." Sha Qingqing was even more puzzled. She really didn't know Chu Chen before, so why did Chu Chen seem to be talking to her when they met for the first time? After having a meal with the princess in the palace, Chu Chen said he would take Sha Qingqing to look for a suitable shop to open a clinic. He then went to the garage to buy a Ferrari and drove Sha Qingqing out of the Prince of Jongnyeon's palace. Soon the two arrived at Fengming Street, not far from the king of Jongnyeon's palace. After getting out of the car, Chu Chen pointed to a row of empty storefronts across the street and said, "Sister Qingqing, take a look at these to see if there's anything suitable." Sha Qingqing looked around and saw that the location was good. She said, "It's okay, but the rent must be expensive." Chu Chen smiled and said, "If you want to open a clinic, you can connect the 3 shops and rent out the 2nd and 3rd floors. It will cost about 3 million a year." Sha Qingqing was immediately taken aback and said, "Chu Chen, I just want to open a small clinic and do something. This investment is too big." Chu Chen turned around and looked at Sha Qingqing, smiled, and said, "No matter how big the shop is, can it be as big as your heart?" As he said that, his smile froze. She knew very well what this woman was up to. He actually took advantage of the old lady's kindness and sneaked into the Prince of Jongnyeon's mansion. He has a bad temper. Seeing Chu Chen's expression turn gloomy, Sha Qingqing panicked. Did he know the purpose of her coming to the Prince of Jongnyeon's mansion? "Chu Chen, do you have any misunderstandings about me?" Sha Qingqing forced a smile on her face and said with a smile. "Is there a misunderstanding?" Chu Chen's face became even colder as he approached step by step. Sha Qingqing's heart was pounding. Could it be that he really discovered her? She was forced by Chu Chen to retreat step by step. "Brother Chu Chen, I'm your sister, what's wrong with you?" Sha Qingqing immediately reminded Chu Chen. "Sister." Chu Chen sneered. Suddenly, he grabbed Sha Qingqing's hand and pulled her into his arms. Sha Qingqing was so frightened that her heart was pounding and she was extremely nervous. "Do you really only want to be my godsister? You don't want to be the future princess of Jongnyeon?" At this moment, Chu Chen's faint voice came. Sha Qingqing immediately breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that he just thought that he wanted to pursue him, marry him, and become the future princess of Jongnyeon. Scared to death. "Chu Chen, I didn't expect you to see through all this. I actually fell in love with you at first sight. Let me go and talk first." Sha Qingqing quickly said with a smile. "Love at first sight." Chu Chen sneered in his heart. This woman was really good at telling lies with her eyes open, but she said on the surface, "Really? Sister Qingqing, I like you too." After that, she went straight to kiss Sha Qingqing's rosy little mouth. Sha Qingqing's heart was beating wildly. He is so direct. Chu Chen kissed her fiercely, and at the same time, he put his big hand around Sha Qingqing's slender waist. Savor it to your heart's content. A sense of pleasure of revenge arises spontaneously. Chapter 10 Yi Fan knows the truth. After Chu Chen traveled through time, his thoughts and emotions were highly integrated with his predecessor. What happened to his predecessor is what happened to him. The thought that I, who was so awesome, was ruined by a delivery man and these women, and finally had my body chopped into a human stick and drowned in the river made me feel miserable. Bullying Sha Qingqing made Chu Chen feel an unprecedented pleasure. Is she one of Yi Fan's 9 sisters? She is his godsister, but she helps Yi Fan deal with his family. The actions became more and more excessive. Sha Qingqing never thought that Chu Chen had already seen through her identity and purpose when they met for the first time. She just felt that this man was a little too unrestrained. Although she said that she liked her, he wouldn't kiss her directly after just a few words. Moreover, Sha Qingqing clearly felt that Chu Chen was becoming more and more excessive. Suddenly she felt Chu Chen's hand trying to lift her skirt. She was startled and quickly pushed Chu Chen away. Chu Chen was pushed away and looked at Sha Qingqing with cold eyes. The aura of the most evil young man in Zhongyan emanated naturally. Sha Qingqing couldn't help but panic. She quickly forced a smile, walked forward and took Chu Chen's wrist again, saying, "Chu Chen, this is on the street, in broad daylight, in public. This is not good. Sister Qingqing, do you know that no one in Zhongyan dares to refuse me, Chu Chen? You've already pissed me off, and now you're saying it's not okay to do it in broad daylight." Chu Chen looked at Sha Qingqing and said coldly. Sha Qingqing's heart trembled when she heard Chu Chen's words, but she quickly put on a smile and said, "Chu Chen, I'm not rejecting you. I just think this is the street. In the car, too." Chu Chen glanced at the car next to him. Sha Qingqing took a breath of cold air. Who is this person? She had no idea that this man meant more than just a kiss. In an instant, she couldn't help but feel extremely regretful. If she had known earlier, she would have lied to Chu Chen's grandmother that she had a boyfriend to avoid provoking this man. I've heard for a long time that he's the most evil young man in Zhongyan. Has he become blinded by greed? You actually want to get close to this guy. This is just throwing yourself into the fire pit. Chu Chen, this is too fast. I can't accept it. Let's understand each other first. Sha Qingqing immediately apologized with a smile. Of course Chu Chen didn't really want to be here, he was just teasing her. I'm a rather impatient person and prefer to be direct. Tonight, at Red Leaf Courtyard. Chu Chen was too lazy to waste time talking to her and spoke directly. Chu Chen, Sha Qingqing quickly tried to politely refuse. Sister, no one in Zhongyan dares to refuse me. But Chu Chen interrupted Sha Qingqing directly and said calmly, then turned and walked towards the car, saying as he walked, as long as you satisfy me tonight, you can choose any storefront here, rent is free, and you can open it as long as you want. Sha Qingqing was completely furious. She never dreamed that she would meet such a person. Going to bed on the first date. And you can't refuse. No one in Zhongyan dared to refuse him. How arrogant and domineering this man was. She really wanted to confront Chu Chen directly, but after thinking about it, she decided to put the overall situation first and walk towards the car. As she walked, she was thinking about how to deal with this evil young man. On the other side, Yi Fan took a leave of absence and lay alone in the bedroom of the rental house, with his fists clenched and his eyes staring fiercely at the ceiling lamp, as if the ceiling lamp was the murderer of his father. From last night till now, Shen Qing has called him countless times and sent him countless text messages, but the video was irrefutable evidence. Yi Fan didn't believe Shen Qing at all, so he ignored it. Instead, he thought bitterly that he was such a fool for being treated as a backup. Now that bitch Shen Qing is still contacting me. I guess she thinks that someone like Chu Chen will not marry her, and she wants to use me as a cover. Bitch. Just as I was thinking angrily, there was a knock on the door. Yi Fan got out of bed and went to open the door. When he saw that the person outside was Shen Qing's best friend Zhou Ruoxue, he couldn't help but snorted coldly and said unhappily, "Shen Qing asked you to come. What? Isn't it enough that you've fooled me? You still want to use me, Yi Fan, as a shield? Let me tell you, although I, Yi Fan, am poor, I, Yi Fan, have backbone and will never be a turtle. Yi Fan, I'm sorry." Zhou Ruoxue looked at Yi Fan, gritted her teeth, and said regretfully. She accepted 1 million from Chu Chen, put drugs in Shen Qing's wine, and didn't attend the Shen family's birthday party last night because she felt ashamed. Later, I heard that Chu Chen felt bad about showing the video of him and Shen Qing having sex in public at the Shen family, and forced Yi Fan to cut off his fingers and eat them, so he came to Yi Fan's house. Sorry. What have you done to me? If you want to say sorry, shouldn't Shen Qinglai be the one to say sorry? Yi Fan thought that it was Shen Qing who asked Zhou Ruoxue to come, and sneered on the spot. Actually, Zhou Ruoxue hesitated, wondering whether to tell Yi Fan the truth. After a pause, she made up her mind, took a breath, and said, actually, I took Chu Chen's money and put drugs in Shen Qing's wine. Shen Qing has never had any second thoughts about you. It's all my fault. Yi Fan, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to you and to Shen Qing. Zhou Ruoxue didn't expect Chu Chen to be so cruel. She thought Chu Chen just wanted to sleep with Shen Qing. Now she began to regret it. After saying that, she knelt down directly in front of Yi Fan. Yi Fan was stunned on the spot. What did you say? It was you who put drugs in Shen Qingju. That's right, it's all my fault. I was greedy for money. Chu Chen gave me 1 million. He said he just wanted to get Shen Qing's first time. I really didn't expect that after he got Shen Qing, he would actually go to your engagement scene and do such a thing to you. Zhou Ruoxue said with a guilty look on her face. She had a good relationship with Shen Qing and Yi Fan, and Chu Chen took advantage of her father only because he was sick and needed a large sum of money for hospitalization. Hearing Zhou Ruoxue's confirmation again, Yi Fan understood instantly. Everything was Chu Chen's design. That bastard. How abominable. Shen Qing. Thinking that Shen Qing is also a victim. I have been calling him since last night, but he has ignored me. Shen Qing must be feeling the most uncomfortable right now, even more uncomfortable than him. His Shen Qing is so pitiful. His Shen Qing was defiled by that villain and was misunderstood by himself. After Yi Fan figured it out, he ran out. He wants to find Shen Qing. He wanted to tell Shen Qing that he didn't care what happened the night before, that she had lost her virginity, and he could continue to be with her. Shen Qing had just returned from work. From yesterday until now, she had been trying to contact Yi Fan and explain to him what was going on between her and Chu Chen. In addition, the news that Chu Chen bought Haining Building Materials City has spread, causing quite a stir in Zhonghai. This top-rich second generation, in order to force her to beg him, even went so far as to buy the Haining Building Materials City. Does he really think money is not money? Does he really think he can do whatever he wants just because he has money? She, Shen Qing, would never compromise. Because of Chu Chen's move, the Shen family's qualification to enter the building materials city was lost, and the whole family was disappointed. Shen Qing wanted to prove himself even more, so he was particularly attentive today and actually won 2 orders worth more than 1 million. Tomorrow, he even made an appointment with Guo Changshan, the general manager of Longtang Real Estate, to discuss a comprehensive cooperative relationship. Longtang Real Estate is one of the top 10 real estate companies in Zhonghai and is very powerful. If the Shen family can become the chief partner of Longtang Real Estate, they can develop even if they do not have the qualifications to enter Haining Building Materials City. Shen Qing put all his efforts into fighting the bad guy Chu Chen to the end. As soon as I returned to the door of my house, I heard Yi Fan's voice from behind, Shen Qing. Shen Qing looked back and saw Yi Fan coming hurriedly on his electric scooter. He immediately showed joy. Why was Yi Fan here? Did he forgive himself? Sure enough, Yi Fan's electric motorcycle drove up in front of him, and he didn't even bother to put it on the stand. As soon as the motorcycle stopped, he jumped off and let the motorcycle fall on the road. Then he looked at Shen Qing and said excitedly, Shen Qing, I'm sorry. Ruoxue just found me and told me the whole truth. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have misunderstood you. I should have believed you. Yi Fan, I hope you understand. Tears welled up in Shen Qingmei's eyes. Thinking of the injustice she had suffered, her mouth pursed and she actually started crying. Shen Qing, I don't mind that you were bullied by him. I, Yi Fan, still want to marry you. You will always be the purest in my heart. Yi Fan made a promise solemnly. Shen Qing said excitedly, really? Yi Fan, I love you. In this way, the two got back together. Shen Qing was extremely motivated and vowed to fight Chu Chen to the death. She was even more looking forward to the meeting with Guo Changshan the next day. Guo Changshan was also a wealthy local tycoon in Zhonghai, and he knew Shen Wanson and had some friendship with him. Shen Qing was also particularly confident about this meeting with Guo Changshan. On the other side, Chu Chen and Sha Qingqing drove to Zhonghai pedestrian street for a stroll. Sha Qingqing finally saw the wealth of this number 1 evil young man in Zhongyan. Except for Fengming Street that they had seen before, this most prosperous pedestrian street in Zhonghai also belonged to Chu Chen. No matter which store Chu Chen took her to, she was treated with the highest standards, and the managers seemed to have turned into lapdogs all of a sudden. As soon as Chu Chen lifted his foot and said his shoes were dirty, someone would kneel on the ground to polish them for him. If he said he was tired, someone would bring a sofa and massage his back. If he said he wanted to eat fried dough twists from Yangliu Street, someone would drive 20 kilometers to buy it for him. The grandson of the king of Zhongnan is like an emperor in Zhonghai. At this time, Sha Qingqing saw that it was almost dark, and Chu Chen had no intention of sending her back. She thought that he really wanted to have her tonight. She looked around and saw that there was no one around. She approached Chu Chen and whispered, "Chu Chen, I'm having my period. I really can't do it tonight." What a coincidence. Chu Chen's face immediately showed displeasure. Sha Qingqing was indeed having her period. She walked into the fitting room and came out with a bloody diaper. Chu Chen saw that Sha Qingqing was indeed having sex, so he could only wait until she was done. However, he still said to Sha Qingqing coldly, "When it's over, come to Hongye Villa by yourself." Sha Qingqing nodded, thinking that she should take each step one at a time. Afterwards, Chu Chen saw that Sha Qingqing was not available that night and had no interest in taking her shopping, so he directly sent Sha Qingqing back to the Zhongnan Palace. Sha Qingqing saw through Chu Chen directly. "Is it really that realistic? What do you mean you like yourself? These are all lies told by men." The next afternoon, Shen Qing arrived at the Longtang real estate headquarters building as scheduled with extremely firm determination. Looking at the towering building, Shen Qing encouraged himself, "Shen Qing, you can do it." After reporting at the reception desk, I was allowed to go directly to Guo Changshan's office. Upon entering the room, Shen Qing first bowed to Guo Changshan and said politely, "Mr. Guo, I'm here. Sit down. I'll be here as soon as I finish what I'm doing." Guo Changshan sat in his office chair, typing on the keyboard. He then hit the enter key and stood up and walked towards the sofa in the rest area. Shen Qing picked up the briefcase and took out the prepared materials. She had made sufficient preparations for her visit to Longtang Real Estate this time and wanted to win it in one fell swoop. However, Guo Changshan sat down next to Shen Qing and said with a smile, "No hurry, drink a glass of water first and then talk." He then went to pour 2 glasses of water and handed one to Shen Qing. Shen Qing felt that Mr. Guo was very polite and thought it might be because of her grandfather Shen Wanson. However, unexpectedly, after taking the cup and taking a sip, Guo Changshan put a hand on her shoulder and said with a smile, "Actually, Shen Qing, cooperation is very easy. There is no need to discuss it. I can sign for you right now." Shen Qing felt something was wrong, but thought that Guo Changshan was just habitually putting his arm around other people's shoulders, so he didn't push Guo Changshan away immediately. He smiled and said, "Really? That's great. I'll show the agreement to Mr. Guo. Don't worry, Shen Qing, you probably didn't understand what I meant." As Guo Changshan spoke, his old eyes began to shine as he stared at Shen Qing's beautiful legs in black stockings under her OL uniform. At the same time, his hands began to move as he touched Shen Qing's shoulders. Shen Qing finally understood, and immediately jumped up in fright, saying, "Mr. Guo, you and my grandfather are also friends. This is not good. I will come another day. Come back another day." Seeing Shen Qing's reluctance, Guo Changshan immediately sneered, leaned back on the sofa, squinted at Shen Qing and said, "Once you leave this office, cooperation will be impossible. Also, you are not naive enough to think that your Shen family is qualified to cooperate with me, Guo Jinlong, right? I can't handle a small company like yours that comes to me every day looking for cooperation. Why should I choose your Shen family? Shen Qing, as long as you satisfy me, the agreement can be signed immediately, otherwise, no need to discuss it." Guo Changshan's true colors were revealed. Although he and Shen Wanson were of the same generation, he had long wanted to take advantage of Shen Qing as she grew more and more beautiful. He did not expect that Shen Qing would come to him on her own initiative this time. Shen Qing realized the danger and immediately said, "Mr. Guo, I'll come back another day." After that, he turned around, put away the materials, picked up his briefcase and prepared to leave. But when she got to the office door and reached out to turn the doorknob, she found that she couldn't turn it at all. It turned out that someone outside had locked the door when she came in. Guo Changshan immediately grinned, "Now that you're here, don't even think about leaving. Be obedient and I'll be gentle with you, ha 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 ha." Seeing Guo Changshan's true colors revealed and the door locked, Shen Qing felt terrified. She knocked on the door and yelled, "Help! Help!" Seeing Shen Qing begging for help, Guo Changshan couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Little girl, it's useless even if you scream your throat out. No one will come to save you. This is Longtang Real Estate. This entire building is owned by me, Guo Changshan. Besides, let me be a bit arrogant. You're just a little girl from the Shen family. So what if I, Guo Changshan, bully you? Can Shen Wanson still bite me? It turns out that Guo Changshan was in the real estate business, but he secretly employed a large number of people and did a lot of lawless things. Moreover, the Guo family was rich and powerful in Zhonghai, and except for a few top families, they were all inferior to others. Moreover, Guo Changshan has some unknown secrets. There was no one else in the office at the time, so he had no qualms. Little girl, you'd better save your energy. Now you're still crying for help, but later you'll beg me, ha ha ha. Guo Changshan laughed wildly again. It turned out that he had put a little seasoning in the water he had given Shen Qing just now. If he waited a while, the effect would take effect, and he would not have to waste his energy. Shen Qing was even more shocked when she heard what Guo Changshan said. You put something in my water. The more she spoke, the more frightened she became. She had just been tricked by Chu Chen and was still feeling the lingering fear. She never expected that she would be tricked by this old bastard again. She felt that her life was miserable. She knew that once the drug took effect, she would lose consciousness, so she quickly took out her cell phone and called Yi Fan. The first person she thought of was Yi Fan. Yi Fan will definitely come to save her. Yi Fan, I'm at Longtang Real Estate. Guo Changshan, the chairman of Longtang Real Estate, is plotting against me. You come and save me. Haha, Yi Fan, is that your fiance who delivers food? Ha ha ha, let him come. Let him come quickly. When Guo Changshan heard Shen Qing calling Yi Fan, he immediately sneered disdainfully. If a delivery man dares to come to Longtang Real Estate, he is seeking death. He is not afraid at all. Shen Qing, I'm nearby, wait for me, I'll be there soon. Yi Fan on the other end of the phone heard the conversation between Shen Qing and Guo Changshan, and immediately guessed what had happened. He was anxious and extremely angry. He reconciled with Shen Qing yesterday and mentioned that Shen Qing would come to Longtang Real Estate today to discuss comprehensive cooperation. He was originally full of expectations, but he did not expect that after Shen Qing came, Longtang Real Estate would fall into the clutches of Guo Changshan. After hanging up the phone, Yi Fan stopped delivering the takeaway and rode his electric scooter directly to the Longtang Real Estate headquarters building. The security guard outside had already been notified by Guo Changshan and did not stop Yi Fan at all, but let Yi Fan enter the hall directly. But once you enter the hall, the situation is different. As the glass door at the back was closed, more than a dozen men in black suits blocked the back road. More than 20 men in suits in the front were holding baseball bats, beating them in their hands and looking at Yi Fan coldly. Yi Fan couldn't help but take a breath, but thinking that Shen Qing might have been defiled by that old bastard Guo Changshan, he didn't care about the other party's large numbers. He threw his helmet at the face of the big man opposite and rushed over with angrily. Court death. A ferocious man with a short haircut and a scar on his face saw Yi Fan rushing towards him, and he shouted loudly and waved his hand. More than 20 men in suits behind him rushed forward. Yi Fan was just a delivery man before, so he was no match for these people. He was knocked to the ground in just one encounter. More than 20 big men surrounded Yi Fan, beating him and cursing at him. What the hell? A delivery guy dares to come to Longtang Real Estate. Boy, there's a road to heaven but you don't take it, and there's no door to hell but you break in. Bah, a loser like you is trying to be a hero and save the damsel in distress. Yi Fan covered his head and rolled on the ground, feeling despair. He kept trying to get up and save Shen Qing, but when he got up he was kicked to the ground again, and what happened next was even worse. Ha ha ha, looking at this guy, he feels really good. I haven't felt this good in a long time. Ha ha ha, do you feel desperate and helpless? Do you feel like a loser, knowing that your woman is being bullied in there and you can't do anything? Ellipsis. Guo Changshan received a report by phone in the office, and made a special video call back and showed it to Shen Qing. Look, your reinforcements are here. How about this, you serve me first and I'll let him go. Shen Qing looked at the picture on the phone, her heart aching as if it were being cut by a knife. She cried out in tears, Yi Fan. If you don't agree, he's going to die. Guo Changshan grinned. Shen Qing clenched his teeth and closed his eyes. Can't make a decision. But Yi Fan was being beaten, and if she didn't compromise, Yi Fan would really die. Trembling, she reached out to unbutton her blazer. Yi Fan, I did this for you, will you forgive me? Seeing Shen Qing compromise, Guo Changshan sneered complacently and immediately made a phone call. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to help you? Shen Qing made up his mind, unbuttoned his clothes, and took off his blazer. Guo Changshan looked at Shen Qing, feeling a sense of conquest. He hooked his finger and said, come here and kneel down. Shen Qing gritted her teeth, walked slowly to Guo Changshan, and knelt down. Guo Changshan reached out and lifted Shen Qing's chin, and tears rolled down Shen Qing's beautiful eyes. Oh, you're crying. You really look a bit pitiful. Cry more tears. The more miserable you cry, the happier I will be. Still calling for help. Haha, in Zhonghai, who am I, Guo Changshan, afraid of? Even the gods can't save you today. Guo Changshan is extremely arrogant and conceited. Guo Changshan does have this ability. He is worth over 10 billion yuan, and has a group of evildoers who commit murders and arson. He also has a good background, so he is not afraid of anyone. Unexpectedly, the words had just fallen. With a loud bang, the office door was kicked open. Guo Changshan was interrupted at a critical moment and flew into a rage, cursing, "Which bastard dares to harm me?" When he was halfway through his words, he saw a young man in a black slim-fitting suit with a stern face walk in. He was immediately frightened and shuddered. Chu Chen is here. He squinted at Guo Changshan and said coldly, "Guo Changshan, didn't I know you were so awesome in Zhonghai?" He had been sending people to follow Shen Qing, so he knew as soon as Shen Qing arrived at Longtang Real Estate. At the same time, knowing who Guo Changshan was and anticipating that something would happen to Shen Qing, he naturally would not miss this good show. In addition to being the chairman of Longtang Real Estate, Guo Changshan actually has another identity. He is Li Yue's lackey, who uses the identity of the chairman of Longtang Real Estate to carry out activities for Li Yue in Zhongnan. This is also the real reason for Guo Changshan's rapid rise in recent years. When Shen Qing saw Chu Chen coming in, he was so desperate that for a moment he was excited as if he had seen a life-saving straw. "Chu Chen!" Shen Qing shouted excitedly. When Guo Changshan came to his senses, he was so frightened that he quickly apologized, "Mr. Chu, I'm sorry, I really didn't know it was you." "How come you know Miss Shen?" "I'll let her go right away, right away." Both of them thought Chu Chen was here to rescue people. But unexpectedly, Chu Chen turned around and closed the door, took out his phone, clicked on the camera function, sat on the sofa, and said with a smile, "Go on, I won't disturb you. I have a special hobby, I especially like to watch the scene." Shen Qing was stunned when she heard Chu Chen's words. This bastard didn't even stop Guo Changshan's evil deeds and even watched the fight on the spot. Guo Changshan didn't believe it at all, thinking that Chu Chen was speaking in a sarcastic way. Thinking that this person was the only heir of the Chu family and had connections, even though he had someone behind him, he had to bow his head in Zhongnan and quickly admitted his mistake. Mr. Chu, I really know I was wrong, please don't be so mean to me. I'll let you continue." Quote. However, Chu Chen's face suddenly turned cold and he shouted coldly. Guo Changshan was shocked. Shen Qing was also stunned. Guo Changshan observed the expressions and stole a glance at Chu Chen before he made up his mind, turned around and pushed Shen Qing down on the sofa. Shen Qing was so scared that she started crying again. Chu Chen looked at Shen Qing and remembered what this woman had said before. She said she would never beg him, Chu Chen. "Shen Qing, beg me, I can make him stop." Chu Chen continued filming with his phone while sneering. "Chu Chen, you scumbag, how can you be so shameless? You bastard." When Shen Qing heard that Chu Chen actually took the opportunity to threaten her, she cursed angrily. She really didn't expect that Chu Chen was so bad. Although he had used despicable means before, it was definitely not like now. Despicable. Shameless. I, Chu Chen, have never said that I am a gentleman, right? Do I still remember what you said the night before? You, Shen Qing, will never beg me. Haha, let's see how stubborn you are and how long you can keep doing that. Guo Changshan, why don't you hurry up? Do you want me, Chu Chen, to teach you? Chu Chen's voice was stern and his face was ferocious. He will never have any sympathy for Shen Qing. If you want to torture her, you have to torture her more harshly. Compared to what she did, what does it matter? Guo Changshan didn't know how many of Chu Chen's men were outside, and even if Chu Chen came alone, he would never dare to challenge the majesty of the king of Zhongnan in these 3 acres of land in Zhongnan. He was frightened when he heard Chu Chen's words, turned around, made up his mind, and tore Shen Qing's shirt open roughly. A large area of white skin was exposed. Shen Qing was wearing black underwear. Black and white. The skin is good, it is a top grade. She is worthy of being Yi Fan's wife. But now Chu Chen just wants her to beg him. Do you want to ask me? Shen Qing was also stubborn, otherwise she would have compromised long ago. When she heard Chu Chen's words, she cried and cursed, Chu Chen, you bastard. Haha, you really have a temper. Guo Changshan, what are you waiting for? Chu Chen said sternly. Guo Changshan gritted his teeth again, pulled down Shen Qing's skirt, then stood up and unbuckled his belt. Shen Qing knew what was going to happen next, and she was so scared that she closed her eyes and burst into tears. Chu Chen, you bastard. Chu Chen, you are a scumbag. Chu Chen, you will not die a good death. Shen Qing cried and cursed. She really hated Chu Chen. But Chu Chen was laughing on the side. He just wanted to see Shen Qing cry and see Shen Qing's desperate look. Keep on cursing, keep on cursing. I told you, the more you scold me, the happier I am. Still not begging me. How about I give Yi Fan another video call and broadcast it live to him? Chu Chen continued to grin. When Shen Qing heard the name, Yi Fan, her heart was shocked. This bastard is so hateful. He actually wanted Yi Fan to see the live broadcast of her being bullied. Shen Qing swore that she had never met such a villain. Thinking of Yi Fan, Shen Qing finally compromised. She gritted her teeth, held back her tears, and cried, I beg you, I beg you. Chu Chen, I, Shen Qing, beg you. Please save me. Quote, ha ha ha, Shen Qing, do you think you are so precious that I will save you as soon as you beg me? Chu Chen laughed. Shen Qing wanted to kill Chu Chen even more. This bastard broke his promise again. But at the moment, she had no other choice but to continue begging. Chu Chen, it was all because of my blindness before. I didn't recognize Mount Tai. I didn't know how high the sky was and how deep the earth was. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Please save me. Ha ha ha. Chu Chen laughed again. Look, this is our chaste Miss Shen, and she actually asks for help. Okay, since you've made me feel comfortable, Guo Changshan, get off now. Chu Chen had humiliated Shen Qing enough, so he ordered Guo Changshan to get off. Guo Changshan also breathed a sigh of relief. He really couldn't afford to play with this evil young man. He immediately knelt down in front of Chu Chen and said, Mr. Chu, I really didn't know it was you just now. Ignorance is not a crime. Guo Changshan, do you think things can be that simple? Chu Chen squinted at Guo Changshan and sneered. What this old guy deserves to die for is not his intention to get involved with Shen Qing, but his collusion with people in Zhongbei and his intention to do something bad to the Chu family in Zhongyan. Come here today and solve it all at once. Guo Changshan was so frightened after hearing Chu Chen's words that he crawled on the ground, trembling and begging for mercy. Mr. Chu, Mr. Chu, I really didn't know Miss Shen was your woman, and I didn't know it was you who kicked the door just now. I beg Mr. Chu, give me a chance. Haha, Guo Changshan, you are wrong. I want to kill you today because of one person. Chu Chen spoke word by word. Master Chu wants to kill me. Because of one person. Guo Changshan was shocked and confused. That's right, that person's name is Li Yue. Chu Chen spoke every word, each word was as sharp as a knife. Guo Jinlong's eyes immediately showed shock. Then he raised his eyes, slapped the ground with both palms, murderous intent in his eyes, and jumped up, rushing towards Chu Chen. The real purpose was revealed, and Guo Changshan's identity was exposed by Chu Chen, and he knew that it was a situation where he must be killed. Chu Chen will definitely not show mercy and will definitely kill him. After all, the person behind him is the Chu family's mortal enemy. In order to protect himself, he could only take the initiative and capture Chu Chen, using Chu Chen as a threat so that he could have a way to survive. However, the moment he pounced on Chu Chen, murderous intent flashed in Chu Chen's eyes. Court death. Guo Changshan felt something was wrong. Before he could react, he felt a pain in his chest. He didn't know how Chu Chen attacked him, but he kicked him in the chest. With a loud bang, he flew backwards as if hit by a heavy hammer. Shen Qing, who was getting dressed nearby, couldn't help but be shocked. Was he dazzled just now? How could Guo Changshan be knocked out? Guo Changshan fell to the ground and felt that several of his ribs had been broken by the kick. He let out a and vomited a mouthful of blood. Looking at Chu Chen who was walking towards him, his eyes were filled with horror. He only knew that Chu Chen was a prodigal son and a playboy, but he didn't know that Chu Chen's strength was so terrifying. King Chu Tianan of Zhongyan was once a famous master in the Tang Kingdom and was known as the best in Zhongyan. Chu Chen's martial arts were all taught by Chu Tianan himself, and most people have no idea how powerful Chu Chen is. Chu Chen looked at Guo Changshan lying on the ground and walked closer step by step. The murderous look on his face became more intense with every step. Every step was like a heavy drum hitting Guo Changshan's heart. The pressure that comes with it is like a sky covered with dark clouds, making people feel breathless and suffocated. However, no matter how great the pressure is, Guo Changshan understands that life and death are hanging by a thread, and he must fight to the death. He coughed dryly as he struggled to get up. Kneel down. Chu Chen roared, rushed forward, and kicked twice in a row. Click, click. Guo Changshan actually felt that his calves were broken by Chu Chen's kick, and he fell to his knees again with a thud. Guo Changshan still wanted to resist, so he clenched his fists and punched Chu Chen. Laugh. With a crisp sound, one of Guo Changshan's hands was removed at the shoulder. Shen Qing next to him screamed in fright and covered her mouth with her jade hands. Laugh. There was another sound, and Guo Changshan's other hand was forcibly removed and thrown out. Both hands are gone. Guo Changshan was covered in blood, sweating profusely from the pain, and trembling all over. Swish. Chu Chen pulled out a silk thread, wrapped it around Guo Changshan's neck, and said coldly, "You know what, you just stole my words. In Zhongyan, in the rivers and seas, I, Chu Chen, am the sky. I will kill anyone who stands in my way, even Buddhas. Who do you think you are, Guo Changshan? You dare to speak so arrogantly. Who are you afraid of in Zhonghai? I'm telling you, now I'll let you know that there are always people better than you." Chu Chen gritted his teeth and spoke word by word, slowly tightening the silk thread in his hand. Guo Changshan's face flushed crimson, the veins on his neck exposed, his mouth open, gasping for air. You are a demon. Thank you for the compliment." Chu Chen recited each word, and the silk thread in his hand was still tightening. Guo Changshan gradually felt short of oxygen and began to lose consciousness. But when he was about to lose his mind completely, laugh, Chu Chen suddenly pulled the silk thread in his hand. Guo Changshan's head actually rolled down. Shen Qingbin had already covered his mouth, but couldn't help but scream out again. Her face turned pale. She had never expected Chu Chen's methods to be so cruel. Chu Chen could have killed Guo Changshan directly, but he waited until now to take his head. He wanted him to die in pain. Chu Chen never shows mercy when dealing with his enemies. Chu Chen heard Shen Qing's exclamation, turned around and glanced at Shen Qing, sneered disdainfully, "Hasn't this woman always been screaming fiercely in front of him? Is she scared now?" He walked over, picked up Shen Qing and walked out. Shen Qing immediately became frightened. She kept kicking her feet and slapping Chu Chen with her jade hands, shouting, "Chu Chen, what are you going to do? Where are you taking me?" Chu Chen's face darkened and he looked at Shen Qing. Shen Qing was so frightened that he froze and dared not say a word. Chu Chen carried Shen Qing and walked downstairs. Shen Qing walked a few steps in Chu Chen's arms and gradually felt her body getting hot. The hands and feet are weak and limp. Guo Changshan's medicine took effect. His eyes also began to become confused. "I took the elevator all the way to the first-floor lobby." Shen Qing vaguely saw a scene. Dozens of Guo family lackeys were kneeling on the ground, with knives held against them. Wu Da stood in the middle of the hall. Seeing Chu Chen coming down, he immediately bowed and said, "Master, how do we deal with these people?" "Kill him." Chu Chen spoke as he walked. Wu Da turned around and said, "The young master said to kill him." Shish. Blood rained down and dozens of people fell to the ground. Shen Qing was frightened again, her heart began to beat fast, and then she closed her eyes and fainted. Yi Fan, who was being pressed to the ground and stepped on, couldn't help but gasp when he saw this scene. Dozens of lives were saved just like that. I felt a chill all over my body. A chill runs from the soles of the feet straight to the top of the head. Chu Chen glanced at Yi Fan and sneered, saying disdainfully, "Little trash, waste, you still want to learn to be a hero and save the beauty. Just you. Do you have the ability? I heard you two reconciled. Now I want to take her away, what can you do?" Waste. When Yi Fan heard Chu Chen's words, he immediately became nervous again. While struggling, he shouted angrily, "Chu Chen, you beast, let her go. Chu Chen, don't go, don't go. Chu Chen, don't deal with Shen Qing, come at me, Yi Fan." Yi Fan kept roaring at the top of his lungs. He knew that his Shen Qing was going to be bullied again. He felt as if his heart was being stabbed by a knife. He struggled hard, but was held down by Chu Chen's men and could not move at all. "You're not worthy." Chu Chen's cold voice came. "Chu Chen, please let her go. Yi Fan, beg you. Chu Chen, I beg you, isn't it enough for me to beg you?" Shen Qing. When Yi Fan thought about what was going to happen next, he felt as if his heart was stabbed with a knife and then twisted violently. But he could do nothing. Not only was his face stepped on the floor by Chu Chen's men, but he was also mercilessly mocked and slapped in the face. "Little trash, didn't you hear what my young master said? You are just a waste. Why do you, a delivery guy, compete with my young master for a woman? Look at you, you poor loser." Pa pa pa. Outside the building, ordinary employees of Longtang Real Estate and the surrounding crowds who were attracted by the movement inside Longtang Real Estate to watch the excitement blocked the outside tightly and it was overcrowded. Seeing the situation inside through the glass window, everyone gasped. "So many people, just kill them." Seeing Chu Chen carrying Shen Qing out, everyone felt an overwhelming chill, as if a strong gust of cold air suddenly attacked the world, bringing an unprecedented coldness. Everyone involuntarily stepped back, wanting to keep as much distance as possible from the evil man who came out. A stunning beauty was walking towards the opposite intersection. She was wearing a gray OL uniform, looking elegant, capable, handsome and heroic. As soon as she walked into the street and saw Chu Chen coming out of Longtang Real Estate, her head buzzed and she froze on the spot. It's him. It's him. The beauty's name is Zhang Manyan. Once, she was singing in a KTV with her colleagues and happened to meet Chu Chen. She was forcibly taken away by Chu Chen and her blood was taken away. After that, the bad guy pulled up his pants and denied recognition and never appeared again. And now, I didn't expect to meet you here by chance. Zhang Manyan was caught off guard for a moment and instinctively turned around to avoid Chu Chen's gaze. Chu Chen carried Shen Qing directly into the car parked outside. Wu Da trotted over, sat in the driver's seat, started the car, and drove Chu Chen and Shen Qing away quickly. Shen Qing was drugged by Guo Changshan and is now in a coma. When he wakes up, there will definitely be a storm. Drive faster, Chu Chen ordered. Yes, sir. Was she drugged? Wu Da asked while driving. That's right, go back to Hongye Villa immediately. Chu Chen said coldly. After saying that, he suddenly saw a figure on the side of the road. Chu Chen didn't see the face but it felt familiar. However, since Shen Qing was about to have an attack, he didn't let Wu Da stop the car to ask. Zhang Manyan glanced at the Maybach with her beautiful eyes and saw it driving away. She breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. Then she walked forward and learned Chu Chen's true identity from the discussions of the people around her. She was shocked on the spot. He was actually Chu Chen, the #1 villain in Zhongyan. Ellipsis. An hour later, Hongye Villa. In the spacious bedroom, Shen Qing finally woke up. Her consciousness was hazy, and she only felt her body was hot and her mouth was dry. She pulled at her clothes and murmured. Chu Chen stood on the balcony outside, looking at the mountains in the distance, his thoughts surging. He traveled through a book and was a top-rich second generation, a powerful second generation. The only grandson of King Zhongyan, he is bound to inherit the throne of King Zhongyan in the future and be able to call the wind and rain. However, because of the feud between Shen Qing and Yi Fan, he eventually attracted Yi Fan's 9 sisters, and finally lost all his property and died tragically. In the end, it was very tragic. He saw the coldness of the world and the fickleness of human nature. The more glorious he is today, the more miserable he will be in the future. There were only 2 women who really stood up to defend him. One of them was Zhang Manyan, who had been raped by her predecessor. She was innocent at first, but Yi Fan, who later turned evil, was 100 times more cruel than he is now. He actually let his men rape the innocent Zhang Manyan in front of Chu Chen and brutally killed her. Yi Fan's viciousness and his hideous laughter lingered in his mind like a demon. Chu Chen's fists gradually clenched. Hearing Shen Qing's voice inside, Chu Chen came back to his senses and looked inside. The idea of revenge grew wildly. Yi Fan's wife, the first female protagonist of the original book, what she is doing now is not too much, right? As soon as he walked into the bedroom, before he could make any move, Shen Qing pounced on him like a bitch. Chu Chen looked at Shen Qing coldly, his eyes full of the flames of revenge. He pushed Shen Qing down on the ground and was about to walk over. Beep beep beep. Yi Fan actually called. Chu Chen sneered and answered the phone directly. Hey, you piece of shit, you actually have my phone number, why are you calling now? Chu Chen, you beast, let Shen Qing go, or I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Ha ha ha. Hearing Yi Fan's threatening words, Chu Chen laughed loudly. Even if you become a ghost, you won't let me go. I still say that, are you worthy? Chu Chen, tell me where you are now, I will come to you right away. You're looking for me, what do you want to do? 2 dragons playing with a pearl, or 2 bulls fighting? Chu Chen grinned even more fiercely. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone and directly called back on video. He grinned into the phone and said, did you see that? The woman you love most is now like a bitch, wagging her tail and begging for mercy from me, begging for my charity. Why don't you come over here and join us? Ha ha ha. Yi Fan's eyes were bloodshot and he said sternly, tell me where you are, right now, I'll come find you right away. You really want to see it? I won't let you see it. I'm going to give alms to the woman you love most, your wife. I'm hanging up. Beep beep beep. Chu Chen hung up the phone directly. He knew that if he hung up now, Yi Fan would not be able to see what was happening here, and just imagining it would only make him feel worse or even drive him crazy. A night of revenge. Early the next morning, Shen Qing woke up and opened his eyes to see himself lying naked on Chu Chen's bed. He instinctively pulled the quilt over himself. What's going on? Was I violated by Chu Chen again? Shen Qing's memory stayed at Longtang Real Estate, the moment when Chu Chen took her away. She patted her head and quickly remembered everything. Tears rolled down my cheeks again. Yesterday, I went to Longtang Real Estate and wanted to discuss cooperation with Guo Changshan. I thought that Guo Changshan knew my grandfather and everything should go smoothly. But I didn't know that Guo Changshan was a beast and actually put something in my water. Although it was Chu Chen who saved her, but thinking about being brought here by Chu Chen last night, she must have lost her virginity again. Hatred arose in Shen Qing's heart again. She absolutely did not want to have a relationship with Chu Chen. To her, Guo Changshan is a beast, and Chu Chen is also a beast, all the same. Thinking that Yi Fan also rushed to Longtang Real Estate yesterday and must have seen her being taken away by Chu Chen, Shen Qing felt like her heart was stabbed again. Yi Fan should not blame himself. Guo Changshan gave him the seasoning yesterday, and it was not his own will. Thinking of this, Shen Qing lifted the quilt and started to put on his clothes. See the traces left on the sheets. She still felt very uncomfortable and wanted to escape from this nightmarish place immediately. At this moment, with a sound of, "ah," the bedroom door opened and Chu Chen walked in from outside. Shen Qing immediately asked, "Chu Chen, what did you do to me last night?" Chu Chen glanced at Shen Qing coldly, and felt happy when he thought of what happened last night, extremely happy. Although Guo Changshan is an old beast, the medicine he uses is indeed overbearing. This Shen Qing was originally a pure and innocent girl. She had just lost her virginity and had no idea about romance, but last night she acted like a resentful woman. Moreover, she took the initiative to pick up. Now I have some more evidence in my hand. Also, Yi Fan knew what happened last night, and at this moment, he was probably feeling more uncomfortable than if he had been stabbed. I did whatever you thought of. By the way, Yi Fan called me yesterday. Chu Chen said lightly. Shen Qing was stunned when she heard Chu Chen's words. Yi Fan actually called. Could it be that he? You answered. There was a murderous gleam in Shen Qing's beautiful eyes. This bastard. Based on her understanding, he probably received more than one call. Sure enough, I heard Chu Chen's indifferent voice saying, I answered it. He likes you so much and cares about you. I even asked him to see you and asked him if he wanted to come over and join us. It's like two dragons playing with a pearl, two bulls fighting. What? Chu Chen, you bastard, you scum. Hearing Chu Chen's words, Shen Qing exploded on the spot and pounced towards Chu Chen. This bastard is so hateful. Not only taking advantage of the opportunity, she actually let Yi Fan see what she looked like last night. What else is there, two dragons playing with a pearl or two bulls arguing? Shen Qing felt extremely uncomfortable. She really wanted to kill Chu Chen as soon as possible. If possible, 1,000 knives, 10,000 knives, 1,000 cuts. However, as soon as he pounced, Chu Chen grabbed his hands and controlled him, making him unable to move. Chu Chen had expected Shen Qing to fight to the death. He looked at Shen Qing coldly and said word by word, do you think there is any point in doing this? Do you think you can resist me, Chu Chen? Humph. With a cold snort, he pushed Shen Qing to the ground. You know what? People who challenge me never have a good ending. Chu Chen spoke word by word, approaching Shen Qing step by step. Shen Qing lay on the bed, watching Chu Chen approaching. She felt only fear in her heart. She instinctively covered her chest with her hands and kept retreating backwards. What are you going to do? I'm warning you not to do anything rash. What do you think I'm going to do? Chu Chen put his face close to Shen Qing's and said coldly. Chu Chen, no, I beg you, no. Shen Qing then realized that she had no resistance in front of this man and said in a trembling voice. Seeing Shen Qing's frightened look, Chu Chen sneered, stood up straight, and said lightly, don't worry, my body is very precious, I won't waste too much on you, you don't deserve it. Get dressed and get out of here. When I see you, I feel irritated. Shen Qing was even more indignant when she heard Chu Chen's humiliating words. He actually said that she was not worthy. Wasn't he the one who designed himself? Wasn't he the one who brought disgrace upon himself? Wasn't he the one who destroyed himself and Yi Fan? This scumbag licked me in every way before he got me. It turned out that I was right in judging people. He is a beast, the kind of beast that doesn't recognize people once he puts on his pants. Shen Qing grabbed the clothes and put them on angrily. Put it on quickly. Thinking of Chu Chen's humiliation just now, he felt so angry that he couldn't help but turned around and said, you said I'm not worthy. Then why did you buy Haining Building Materials City? Haha, you can't be so narcissistic as to think that I bought Haining Building Materials City just for you. I have so much money I don't know where to spend it. It's only 1 billion. You don't think it's a lot, do you? Chu Chen sneered. I know what you're thinking. I'm telling you, Chu Chen, even if you get me, you can't get my heart. Do you think I'll give in if you buy Haining Building Materials City? No. Shen Qing gritted his teeth and said. Get your heart. Haha, who cares? You think too highly of yourself. However, since you said you won't give in, I'm interested in playing with you and seeing if you're really that tough. Chu Chen immediately sneered when he heard Shen Qing's words. Shen Qing snorted angrily, and without saying anything more to Chu Chen, she stomped her feet and stormed out. But after leaving the gate of the villa, Shen Qing was dumbfounded again. Yesterday, she came in a Maybach. But when I wanted to leave now, I found a tattered van parked outside. A large man in a black suit and sunglasses stood beside the car. He turned around, opened the door, and said, My young master said that you only deserve this kind of car. Shen Qing said angrily, I won't sit. Chu Chen was humiliating her, saying that she was a loser. After Shen Qing finished speaking angrily, he actually walked along the road. Chu Chen stood on the balcony, looked at Shen Qing and sneered. Shen Qing, you still have a bad temper. Within one day, I will not let you come back crying and beg me, or I will take your surname. He turned around, picked up the camera, and checked the footage Shen Qing had taken yesterday. He felt a sense of revenge in his heart. Moreover, she also has a talent for photography. If Yi Fan saw, dozens of people died in Longtang real estate, and the Guo family headed by Guo Changshan was destroyed overnight. It caused a sensation in Zhonghai, and the whole city was discussing what happened yesterday. Sha Qingqing also found out about it and immediately called her elder sister Li Yue to report it. Sister, Guo Changshan was killed by Chu Chen, and his identity may have been discovered. How could he have discovered this? I spent so much effort to cultivate Guo Changshan, and he uprooted him overnight. At the headquarters building of Tianshai Group, Li Yue looked at the tall buildings outside, gritting her teeth and filled with hatred. Could it really be just for the woman surnamed Shen? Sha Qingqing thought about it and felt that what happened yesterday was strange. Guo Changshan had been hiding for so many years without being discovered. How could he be discovered? It was also possible that Chu Chen really wanted to kill him because of a woman. For a woman, he wiped out Guo Changshan's entire family. This man is truly unreasonable and lawless. Li Yue said bitterly that she had seen arrogant people but had never seen anyone as arrogant as Chu Chen. Maybe the king of Zhongyan spoiled him, and he's acting recklessly because of his background. Oh, big sister, that guy also said he wanted me, and I just happened to be having that period, so I can hold him back temporarily, but it won't last long. Big sister, I really don't want to do this. Sha Qingqing's scalp tingled again when she thought of Chu Chen's request. Qingqing, try to hold them off first, and take it one step at a time. If that doesn't work, this will be a great opportunity to get closer to the core of the Chu family. Sister, but, Qingqing, the overall situation is important. Also, find a way to notify Old Aid and ask her to investigate Shen Qing. I want to see what kind of woman could have ruined years of hard work for me, Li Yue. Li Yue gritted her teeth and said. At present, she can't think of any other reasonable explanation. After all, Guo Changshan has been hiding very deeply, and it is really possible that something happened to the woman. Ellipsis. On the other side, after Yi Fan finished talking to Chu Chen on the phone, he went to Shen's house and waited at the gate for a whole night. He was standing outside the Shen family's door, hoping that the bastard would have a change of heart and release Shen Qing. But how could that evil guy let Shen Qing go? At the door of the Shen family, the longer I waited, the more disappointed I became, and the more desperate I became. A night passed, Yi Fan hadn't slept all night, his beard had stubble, and he was extremely exhausted both physically and mentally. But the most painful thing is despair. Shen Qing must have suffered a lot last night, right? Just as he was thinking this, a taxi finally drove up and stopped beside him. Yi Fan was shocked. He looked up and saw that the person who got out of the car was Shen Qing. He immediately greeted him excitedly, Qing. As Yi Fan spoke, tears were about to roll down his face. When Shen Qing saw Yi Fan, she burst into tears. She had a lot of grievances in her heart that she wanted to tell Yi Fan. She even began to feel that she was not worthy of Yi Fan. She was already dirty, insulted again and again by that bad guy. Yi Fan, let's break up. On the way here, Shen Qing was thinking that Yi Fan knew the whole story of the incident. She was drugged by Guo Changshan and nothing she did was voluntary. Yi Fan was understanding and would definitely forgive her. But when she actually saw Yi Fan, she felt that she was dirty and not worthy of him. Yi Fan immediately became excited, grabbed Shen Qing's hand, and said, Qing, I know you're upset. It's all my fault. I'm incompetent and I don't have the ability to protect you. If I had received your call yesterday, I would have gone to Longtang Real Estate to rescue you, and you wouldn't have fallen into the clutches of that bastard. Let's just pretend what happened last night never happened and stay together happily from now on. Ching, I love you, I don't agree to break up. Yi Fan was understanding and knew Shen Qing's current mood, so he didn't blame Shen Qing. Shen Qing felt even more uncomfortable when she saw Yi Fan being so reasonable. Her tears could not stop falling like pearls from a broken string. But the Chu Chen, he is the only grandson of the king of Zhongnan, and his father is the richest man in Zhongnan. He will not let me go, and I don't want to implicate you. Shen Qing said this while looking at Yi Fan's current appearance, feeling extremely distressed. Just a few days later, he broke a finger and was continuously humiliated and tortured. If this continues, Yi Fan will be tortured to death by Chu Chen. Yi Fan gritted his teeth and said bitterly, Qing, I'm not afraid of him. Even if he is the only grandson of the king of Zhongnan, even if he is the son of the richest man in Zhongnan, I, Yi Fan, will not be afraid of him. Our Tang kingdom has royal laws, and he will be punished by the royal law sooner or later. Quote, when Shen Qing heard Yi Fan's words, she remembered the scene of Chu Chen killing Guo Changshan yesterday, and the entire Guo family was slaughtered overnight, and felt even more desperate. The Guo family is considered rich and powerful in Zhonghai, but he wiped out the Guo family overnight. Yi Fan, I'm really worried that something will happen to you. Shen Qing said worriedly. Yi Fan was also very stubborn. He rubbed his hands and said, Qing, I'm not afraid of him. I will never bow to him. As long as you don't mind me being a delivery boy, I will always be with you and fight him to the end. Qing, have you forgotten? You told me in person that no matter how rich and powerful that person is, you will not compromise. We must be together. Shen Qing was moved and remembered the oath she made to Yi Fan. She also felt a surge of courage and said firmly, okay, we will never compromise. We will be together even if we die. A smile finally appeared on Yi Fan's face. Although Shen Qing was repeatedly defiled, in his heart, Shen Qing would always be pure. The two of them talked for a while at the door. Shen Qing thought of Yi Fan who hadn't slept all night and was beaten up by Guo Changshan's men and Chu Chen's men yesterday. She was worried that his body couldn't bear it, so she said, you haven't slept all night, go back and rest. Yi Fan nodded and said, okay, I'll call you when I get up. Shen Qing's face showed happiness, and she said, well, I'll wait for your call. Fan, I will definitely work hard in the future. We must not let that bastard look down on us. Yi Fan was also extremely determined. Then Yi Fan rode away on his electric motorcycle. Shen Qing looked at Yi Fan's electric motorcycle affectionately as it drove out of the intersection, then turned and entered the Shen family. As I walked, I thought about what had happened in the past 2 days and made a secret vow. Yi Fan doesn't care about losing his virginity, and he must not let Yi Fan down. I must be more careful in the future, never let anyone plot against me, and never do anything to let Yi Fan down again. Even though he had just had sex and had been tortured repeatedly, and even though he had taken medicine, his body must be a little sore. Shen Qing felt awkward when walking, but when she thought that Yi Fan did not despise her and insisted on being with her, her heart was filled with warmth. Yi Fan is the best man in the world. Being with him is Shen Qing's happiness. Thinking of this, he walked into the main door of the Shen family villa. Before he had time to greet his family and report that he was safe, he heard Shen Wansen's surprised voice, what did you say? Mr. Fan, are you really willing to let our Shen family be responsible for the supply of doors and windows for all of your future real estate projects in Zhonghai? Shen Qing pricked up his ears immediately. In recent days, the Shen family has been experiencing a roller coaster experience. They originally thought that Yi Fan helped them get the admission ticket to Haining Building Materials City, and the Shen family was about to take off, but they did not expect that the villain would suddenly intervene and make the admission ticket go to waste. Now even Haining Building Materials City has fallen into the hands of that bad guy, and it is basically impossible to get it back. After this blow, everyone in the Shen family was in a very low mood. However, unexpectedly, at this time, Fan Changwen, the chairman of Haitian International, personally called and said that he wanted to discuss cooperation with the Shen family. Not only was Shen Qing excited, but all the members of the Shen family were also excited. That's right, Mr. Shen. Our company has conducted an investigation and the doors and windows provided by your Shen family are of excellent quality, good value for money, and meet the standards of our group. After discussion and decision by the board of directors, all doors and windows in Zhonghai will be supplied by your Shen family from now on. Fan Changwen's serious voice didn't sound like a joke at all. When Shen Wansen heard what Fan Changwen said, he immediately laughed so hard that his mouth couldn't close. It was true that when you are at the end of your rope, there is always a way out. Having lost the qualification to enter Haining Building Materials City, we became a supplier of Haitian International. It is a blessing in disguise. Mr. Fan, our Shen family is just a small company. How did you notice us? But Shen Wanson was a little strange. Shen Qing was also feeling strange at the door. Why would a big company like Haitian International choose the Shen family? We plan to invest heavily in Zhonghai and use it as a model, so we'll be investigating every building materials company. Mr. Shen, do you have any questions? So that's how it is. No, no problem, no problem. But I have one condition, and that is that we must sign the contract in person with Miss Shen Qing from your Shen group. We've gotten to know Miss Shen Qing, and she's serious and responsible. We only trust her. Is that so? Shen Wanson immediately frowned and hesitated. After all, Shen Qing was almost drugged and raped yesterday when she went to Guo Changshan to discuss the contract. Although Chu Chen rushed over to solve the problem later, Chu Chen was not a good person either. Shen Qing didn't know what big loss she would suffer last night, so when she heard Fan Changwen specifically want to talk to Shen Qing, she immediately suspected that the old man Fan Changwen was also attracted by Shen Qing's beauty. After all, Shen Qing is the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai and is famous. It is normal for these big bosses to want to get Shen Qing. Now Shen Wanson had not noticed that Shen Qing had returned and was standing at the door. Shen Qing also had this suspicion. After hearing Fan Changwen's words, he immediately walked in and said, "Grandpa, I'm not going to Haitian International." Shen Wanson looked back at Shen Qing, feeling sorry for his granddaughter, and was about to grit his teeth and refuse. Fan Changwen's laughing voice came, "Miss Shen, do you have any misunderstandings about me, Fan Changwen? I am not the kind of person you think. If Miss Shen has any doubts, you can choose to discuss it at your Shen family's company. We can talk face to face and sign the contract in person. There won't be any problems this way, right?" After hearing what Fan Changwen said, Shen Qing was still puzzled. Could it be that pie really fell from the sky? Thinking of the evil man's plan in the past 2 days, Shen Qing became alert and asked, "Chairman Fan, I still find it strange that such a large group like yours would cooperate with our Shen family. Is what you just said true? Ms. Shen, you're not only doubting my character, Fan Changwen, but also defaming the image of our Haitian group. Do you understand? Our group is a large corporation with investments across the country, and Zhonghai is just one of them. Do you think we would be interested in a small company like yours, or have any intentions towards you? Forget it, since you don't believe us, just pretend I never made this call." Fan Changwen's angry voice came. Shen Qing thought about it and agreed. Haitian was not a local company in Zhonghai, so it was unlikely to be related to that bad guy. Moreover, no matter how much she thought about it, she couldn't think of any trap. So he hurriedly called out, "Chairman Fan, please wait a minute. Since the contract is being signed at our Shen family's company, then it's fine. When can you come over? I'll be at your Shen family's company soon." "Okay, I'll be there right away." After hearing what Fan Changwen said, Shen Qing was afraid of missing the opportunity, so she quickly ended the call with Fan Changwen, quickly went back to the house to change clothes, and even didn't put on makeup, and hurried to the company with everyone in the Shen family. An hour later, a large order worth 200 million was received, and a long-term cooperation agreement was reached. Everyone in the Shen family bowed and nodded as they saw Fan Changwen off. They were all extremely excited and ready to do a big job. A huge order of 200 million. The Shen family can earn at least 80 million this time, which is a profit that they could only make in the past 2 or 3 years. This time the rain has finally stopped and the sky is clear. Shen Qing, you are simply our Shen family's lucky star. I never thought we would actually win it and become a long-term partner of Haitian International. Our Shen family is really going to take off this time. Shen Wanson couldn't stop laughing. The other members of the Shen family also praised Shen Qing highly. Shen Qing was also very happy, and felt even more proud. That bad guy thought that by buying Haining Building Materials City, he could drive the Shen family into a dead end. She, Shen Qing, will never compromise. Ellipsis. On the other side, Fan Changwen left the Shen family's company and went to Hongye Villa to ask to see Chu Chen as soon as possible. It turns out that the real major shareholder behind Haitian International is Chu Chen. Fan Changwen is just a spokesperson for the Chu family. He waited in the living room for a long time. Chu Chen came down from upstairs slowly. Fan Changwen didn't dare to neglect the matter. He quickly stood up and said with a nod and a bow, "Mr. Chu, it's been done. The Shen family has already signed the agreement. But, Mr. Chu, I really don't understand why you did this. It would only take a few minutes to bankrupt the Shen family. Why go through so much trouble?" Fan Changwen couldn't understand why Chu Chen didn't need to spend so much energy to get Shen Qing and deal with the Shen family. He only needed one sentence, which was easy and simple. There was no need to ask him to deliver the order and specifically ask Shen Qing to sign, which was an extra step. Chu Chen sat down on the sofa, crossed his legs, squinted at Fan Changwen, and said, "You want to know?" Fan Changwen immediately felt the pressure and sweat broke out on his back. Like everyone else, he simply thought that Chu Chen killed Guo Changshan's entire family because Guo Changshan intended to get his hands on Shen Qing. A person like this would kill an entire family at any time. You can imagine the pressure he is under. "Mr. Chu, I'm just curious, nothing else," Fan Changwen said hurriedly, fearing that Chu Chen would be unhappy. "You'll know after a while, that's all." Chu Chen waved his hand lightly. Fan Changwen immediately retreated respectfully and left the main building of the villa. As soon as he turned around, he saw Wu Da leading a young beauty in. She was quite good-looking, but her temperament and dress were a bit ordinary. He wondered if Master Chu had changed his taste recently. Brother Da. Although Fan Changwen was more than 10 years older than Wu Da, he knew that Wu Da was Chu Chen's close associate, so he did not dare to be arrogant at all and quickly nodded and bowed to greet him. Wu Da glanced at Fan Changwen and said, "Here you are. Have you seen the young master?" "Yes," Fan Changwen said hurriedly. Wu Da said, "The young master is waiting for me. I will go see him first and we can talk later." Fan Changwen nodded, and became even more curious. Who was that woman? Wu Da led the beautiful woman into the main hall of the villa. The beauty quickly knelt down in front of Chu Chen. "Mr. Chu, I have done as you instructed. Will my father be okay?" "Zhou Ruoxue, don't worry. I still need your help with something. If you don't want your father to get into trouble, just be obedient and do as I tell you," Chu Chen said lightly. It turned out that Zhou Ruozu's confrontation with Yi Fan was also arranged by Chu Chen. As for Longtang Real Estate, it was indeed an accident. Zhou Ruoxue knew some of Chu Chen's arrangements and knew how terrifying this evil man was. His recent series of arrangements had tortured Yi Fan and Shen Qing to death. Her father was also captured by Chu Chen as a threat, so she had to do as Chu Chen asked. "I originally thought that after deceiving Yi Fan this time, the matter would be over, but I didn't know that this evil guy had further plans." I shuddered at the thought and trembled all over. Anyone who messes with this person will regret it for the rest of his life. "Mr. Chu, didn't we agree that it would be over after I lied to Yi Fan?" Zhou Ruozu's voice trembled. Chu Chen looked at Zhou Ruoxue coldly and asked, "Are you dissatisfied with me?" Zhou Ruoxue suddenly felt a terrifying majesty and was so frightened that she quickly said, "No, no. I listen to Master Chu. I will do whatever Master Chu tells me to do." Chu Chen nodded and continued, "You go back first and wait for my next notification. Once it's done, your father will be admitted to the best hospital and his illness will be fully recovered." "Yes, Mr. Chu." Zhou Ruoxue quickly and respectfully agreed. She had no expectations that Chu Chen could cure her father's illness. She just hoped that this bad guy would release her father and end this nightmare. Ellipsis. For the next week, the Shen family was doing very well, so smoothly that it seemed as if they had cheated. In addition to the order from Haitian International, more than a dozen large companies came to the Shen family and signed cooperation agreements with them, with a total amount of more than 1 billion. Moreover, every company that came to them said that they trusted the Shen family because they saw that the Shen family could become a partner of Haitian International. Shen Wanson has been smiling so much these days that his mouth can't be closed and his eyes are shining. He has been busy for most of his life, but he has never had such a smooth life as now. In just a few days, the Shen family has reached an unprecedented peak, business is flourishing, career is booming, and it has begun to take off. It is just around the corner for them to become a first-class wealthy family in Zhonghai. That morning, watching Shen Qing coming down from upstairs in the main hall, Shen Wanson felt that this granddaughter was simply the lucky star of the Shen family. Without exception, all the recent orders were negotiated and signed by Shen Qing. Shen Qing was also appointed by Shen Wanson as the company's executive director, and his authority was second only to Shen Wanson. No one in the Shen family had any objection to this appointment. After all, they could see that the company had received so many orders because of Shen Qing, and thinking about getting dividends, it didn't matter. Even everyone started to curry favor with Shen Qing. As soon as Shen Qing came downstairs, Shen Yuanchao personally offered him a seat. Shen Qing's second uncle, younger uncle and others smiled and poured tea and served water. "Shen Qing, I'm going to be busy again today," Shen Wanson said to Shen Qing with a smile. "I love this granddaughter so much that it's hard to express in words." Shen Qing smiled and said, "I don't have any business to discuss today, but I'm busy as I have a lot of orders to deliver." Shen Wanson smiled and said, "You've been working hard recently. Look back and take some time to rest. If you get too tired, Grandpa will feel bad." Shen Qing smiled and said, "Grandpa, seeing that the company's business is improving, I don't feel tired no matter how hard I work. I have something else I want to discuss with you." Shen Wanson saw Shen Qing's face become serious as he spoke, and asked sternly, "What's the matter?" "If it's a company matter, you're the executive director, so you can make the decision there. No need to discuss it." Because of Shen Qing's outstanding performance recently, Shen Wanson began to trust Shen Qing absolutely, so he was relieved to leave the company's affairs to Shen Qing. Shen Qing said, "My engagement with Yi Fan has been ruined. Now our Shen family can develop without relying on the admission qualification of Haining Building Materials City, and our business has made a breakthrough, so I want to get engaged to Yi Fan." When Shen Wanson heard Shen Qing's words, he was stunned for a moment. The other members of the Shen family were also startled and looked at Shen Qing. Although the Shen family's business has shown explosive growth recently and has flourished across the board, everyone in the Shen family is a little bit arrogant. Moreover, Shen Qing is regarded as the lucky star of the Shen family, and the revitalization of the family depends entirely on Shen Qing. But when they heard that Shen Qing was going to get engaged to Yi Fan, they were still scared. After all, it was not long ago that the Guo family was destroyed. In the eyes of the Shen family, Shen Qing was also the source of the destruction of the Guo family. So, if Shen Qing was going to get engaged to Yi Fan, would that evil young man be angry and bring disaster to the Shen family? "Shen Qing, you can't be impulsive about this. You also know about the Guo family. If you get engaged to Yi Fan and anger young Master Chu, our Shen family, a small family, can't afford the consequences." Shen Yuanchao then hurriedly spoke earnestly. Thinking about the misery of the Guo family, Shen Yuanchao felt that he had to make Shen Qing give up the idea of getting engaged to Yi Fan. Shen Wanson then said, "Yes, Shen Qing, you must not do this. Grandpa is not against the poor and loves the rich, but he is worried that if you do this, it may bring disaster to our Shen family." When Shen Qing heard what Shen Yuanchao and Shen Wanson said, her teeth chattered. Chu Chen is everywhere. She thought for a moment and said, "Grandpa, Dad, I don't think it's that scary. Chu Chen is just a bastard. He's had so many women, but I've never seen him stay in love with any of them. So, he should be the same to me. These days, I haven't even seen his shadow. He must have forgotten me a long time ago. Also, our Shen family's business has been improving recently, so we no longer need to seek admission to the Haining Building Materials City. I have my own life. I like Yi Fan and I want to get engaged to him. Yi Fan is really good. He doesn't despise my history and treats me the same as before. Where can I find such a good man in the world? Besides, there's no way that Chu Chen would marry me. I can't stay single forever just because of him." Shen Qing spoke so clearly that everyone in the Shen family began to hesitate. Indeed, the Shen family has been developing rapidly recently, all because of Shen Qing. At the same time, Chu Chen has not been seen for a week, so it is very likely that he is just playing with Shen Qing. Now that he has it, he is no longer interested in it. Isn't this a normal playboy behavior? In addition, it is impossible for Shen Qing to remain single for the rest of her life just because she was insulted by Chu Chen. As Shen Qing's family, they should also consider Shen Qing. After all, Yi Fan is really good to Shen Qing. So, the whole family began to hesitate. Shen Qing continued, "Dad, Grandpa, second uncle, little uncle, I will take responsibility for my own actions. If this engagement really brings trouble to the Shen family, I am willing to bear it alone and will never bring trouble to the Shen family." The tone of his voice was firm and decisive. Shen Qing is indeed such a person, with a naturally strong personality. Shen Wanson was still worried and couldn't help but take a breath. Do you really want to agree to her engagement with Yi Fan? But after Shen Qing's repeated pleas, Shen Wanson's heart softened and he agreed. Well, have you and Yi Fan decided on a date? Shen Qing said, we want to do it as soon as possible, so as to avoid any unnecessary trouble. We will get engaged in 3 days. Shen Qing said that she felt that the bad guy had forgotten her, but she was actually still afraid in her heart, fearing that if time dragged on, Chu Chen would find out and come to make trouble. So she wanted to get engaged first, and even get the marriage certificate immediately after the engagement. By then, when Chu Chen came back, she would already be Yi Fan's wife. Isn't 3 days a bit too hasty? Shen Yuanchao frowned. Dad, it's just a ceremony, it's not important. What's important is that Yi Fan and I can be together. Shen Qing was so focused on getting engaged to Mark that she didn't care about the limited time. Everyone in the Shen family nodded and agreed. Shen Qing was overjoyed. She said goodbye to her family, went out, got into her recently bought BMW, and called Yi Fan. Yi Fan, my family has agreed. Let's get engaged in 3 days. Really? Ching, that's great, we can finally get engaged. Well, let's get the marriage certificate and register first the day after we get engaged. Good. Once you get your certificate, you'll start working at our Shen family's company. First, learn a little and gain some experience. Then I'll assign you a more important position. Yi Fan became even more excited when he heard Shen Qing's words. Although he never felt inferior, he didn't make much money delivering food every day. Every day, as he watched Shen Qing's company become more and more prosperous, he felt that the gap between him and Shen Qing was widening. Now that he could get a job in Shen's company, Yi Fan couldn't wait. Ellipsis. On the other side, Chu Chen and Sha Qingqing drove to the storefront they had previously liked. After getting out of the car, the manager who was responsible for helping to manage the shops on this street ran up happily and handed the keys to Chu Chen. Chu Chen took the key, opened the door and walked in with Sha Qingqing. Sha Qingqing followed behind Chu Chen and was extremely nervous along the way. Every time she met Chu Chen, it felt like a war. This man put a lot of pressure on her, as if talking to him could bring about her own death. The manager originally wanted to follow in and serve as a guide for Chu Chen and Sha Qingqing. But as soon as he happily walked in front of Chu Chen, he was met with an displeased look from Chu Chen. Why did you come in? Did I ask you to come in? Chu Chen said lightly. The manager shuddered with fear and said quickly, Mr. Chu, I'm worried that you are not familiar with the place, so I want to act as your guide. After saying that, he glanced at Sha Qingqing behind him and immediately understood. Young Master Chu didn't bring any followers with him. He was really confused. How did he get in here? Mr. Chu, I'll get out of here and disappear right away, don't worry. The manager was also a very smart person. He reacted quickly, slapped himself a few times, and left happily. When we got outside, he said to the other staff, let's go. What are you still standing here for? Manager, Mr. Chu is inside. It's inappropriate for us to leave now, right? A fool asked in surprise. The manager kicked him twice and shouted, didn't you see? Master Chu didn't bring any followers with him. Everyone reacted one after another. When Sha Qingqing saw the manager go out, she stole a glance at Chu Chen with her beautiful eyes. Seeing Chu Chen looking at her with a burning gaze, her heart was so frightened that it couldn't stop beating wildly. This man stole her first kiss the first time they met, and even had sex with her in the car. Now there are only 2 of us. One can imagine the uneasiness in Sha Qingqing's heart. Chu Chen looked at Sha Qingqing with a burning gaze, but there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. She is Yi Fan's 9th sister. He was also one of the culprits who brought disaster to the Chu family in Zhongnan and eventually lost all their wealth. How's the last thing I told you? Chu Chen stared at Sha Qingqing and said lightly. Sha Qingqing immediately stammered, that hasn't happened yet. 1 week after Guo Changshan was killed, the Guo family was wiped out 1 week later. Now the official explanation given by Zhonghai is that Guo Changshan committed murder and arson, seized land, acted lawless, and was involved in collusion with the enemy country and betrayed the Tang dynasty. Once this big hat was put on, no one dared to talk about the annihilation of the Guo family. But Sha Qingqing knew clearly in her heart that Guo Changshan did not collude with the enemy country, but only with Li Yue, the chairman of Tianshai Group, who was also her elder sister. From this, we can see how lawless this person is. If you want to accuse someone of a crime, you will always find a pretext. However, Sha Qingqing is still only at the stage of suspicion, and subjectively still thinks that Chu Chen is most likely because of Shen Qing. Today, when she came out with Chu Chen, although it seemed like a facade, she actually had the intention of testing Chu Chen. Really? What took so long? Chu Chen asked with a smile. Sha Qingqing said hurriedly, I've never been very regular. Chu Chen nodded, guessing that the other party was just trying to fool him, but he didn't point it out. He turned around and walked inside. After showing Sha Qingqing the storefront on the 1st floor, we went up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. On the 3rd floor, Sha Qingqing finally couldn't help but ask tentatively, Brother Chu Chen, I heard that you wiped out the entire Guo family a few days ago because of a woman named Shen Qing. Is she very beautiful? Who is she? Li Yue's people were also investigating Shen Qing during this period, but they couldn't find anything. The results of the investigation showed that Shen Qing was just an ordinary woman, and her family was not a big family, so there was nothing special about her. But Sha Qingqing still wanted to get the answer from Chu Chen in person. When Chu Chen heard the words, Brother Chu Chen, he sneered in his heart. Who is the younger brother? Shen Qing, the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai, is indeed very pretty, but women are all the same. As Chu Chen spoke, he looked Sha Qingqing up and down more boldly. Sha Qingqing instinctively wanted to reach up and cover her collar, as if Chu Chen's eyes had the ability to see through her, but she was afraid that the action would be too obvious, so she forced herself to hold it back and said with a smile, "Since she is the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai, there must be something special about her, otherwise you wouldn't destroy the entire Guo family for her, right? Actually, I think she's not as pretty as you, and she doesn't have as much temperament as you." Chu Chen continued to stare at Sha Qingqing. Sha Qingqing immediately said nervously, "Brother Chu Chen, stop joking. She's the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai. How can I compare to her? Don't underestimate yourself." As Chu Chen spoke, he stretched out his hand, lifted Sha Qingqing's chin, and looked down at her coldly. Although those two lips were not that kind of enchanting red, they were also extremely attractive, with the pearly teeth slightly exposed, crystal white. Sha Qingqing's heartbeat quickened, her collar rippled, and her voice began to tremble. "Brother Chu Chen, I don't talk." Chu Chen said this and then kissed Sha Qingqing's little mouth, while his other big hand hugged Sha Qingqing's waist. Sha Qingqing was startled, and her heart felt like a deer was beating fast. Chu Chen tasted it again. One hand hugged Sha Qingqing tightly and kneaded her wantonly. The intense pleasure arose again. Sha Qingqing felt that Chu Chen hurt her and wanted to refuse, but she didn't dare to offend Chu Chen. After all, she had finally used her identity as the granddaughter of King Zhongyan to sneak into King Zhongyan's mansion, and Li Yue had also told her that she could sacrifice herself if necessary. Therefore, the force is pitifully small. This attitude gave Chu Chen the illusion of wanting to refuse but also to accept. This is what men like most. The feeling of pleasure becomes stronger and stronger. One hand was about to take further action. Beep beep beep. The cell phone rang and a call came in. Sha Qingqing quickly took the opportunity to push Chu Chen away, then straightened her clothes, her heart still beating wildly. When Chu Chen took out his cell phone and saw that the caller ID showed Zhou Ruoxue, he immediately sneered. It seemed that there was also a result over there. "Hey, talk." Chu Chen answered the phone. Zhou Ruoxue's voice came immediately. "Mr. Chu, Yi Fan just called me and told me a piece of news. He and Shen Qing are getting engaged again, and the time is in 3 days. 3 days later. Second engagement." Chu Chen sneered. "Also, they plan to get the marriage certificate the day after they get engaged." "I see. That's all. You continue to pay attention." Chu Chen hung up the phone and turned to look at Sha Qingqing. "An idea suddenly came to my mind. Sister Qingqing, I'll take you to a place in 3 days." Chu Chen said with a smile. Sha Qingqing was immediately surprised. 3 days later, going somewhere. Where? After she finished speaking, she became suspicious again. This bad guy said that he would take her to a place in 3 days. Could it be that he calculated that she would be done in 3 days and wanted to possess her? "Brother Chu Chen, I have something to do in 3 days and may not be able to come here." Sha Qingqing quickly found an excuse to refuse, fearing that Chu Chen would take action against her in 3 days. "No matter what else you postponed, I promise you won't regret going with me that day," Chu Chen said firmly. But Sha Qingqing became even more suspicious that Chu Chen had bad intentions. But Chu Chen narrowed his eyes and said lightly, "Sister Qingqing, have you forgotten what I told you? No one in Zhongyan dares to refuse me, Chu Chen. That's it. I'll pick you up in 3 days." Seeing Chu Chen being so domineering, Sha Qingqing didn't have the courage to refuse at all. She couldn't help but take a deep breath in her heart. If it is a blessing, there is no disaster. If it is a disaster, there is no way to avoid it. The last time she came here, she said that it was a temporary solution, but now it has been 7 days and it is actually over. In 3 days, it may not be possible to push it forward any further. Am I, Sha Qingqing, going to give my first time to this scumbag? Sha Qingqing felt desperate. After all, she came here with a mission. Chu Chen came from the book and knew her identity and purpose, but he did not reveal her identity and planned to play this game with her. 3 days later, the second engagement took place and another exciting event took place. She is Yi Fan's sister. Wouldn't it be boring if we don't take her with us? After looking at it for a while, Sha Qingqing really liked this place. It had a good location and was big enough. However, the problem was that Chu Chen had conditions for renting it to her. The two immediately drove back to the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion. It was already dark when they arrived. When Chen Shanshu from the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion heard that they had returned, she called them to have dinner together. The more Chen Shanshu looked at Sha Qingqing, the more she liked her. She always thought that it would be perfect if Chu Chen married Sha Qingqing, and they would be even closer relatives. As for whether they were a good match, Chen Shanshu didn't care. In Zhongyan, no matter how rich a family is, it cannot compare to the Chu family. No matter how powerful a family is, it cannot compare to the Chu family. Therefore, things like marriage and being well matched are not important at all. It has always been others who curry favor with the Chu family, but there has never been any reason for the Chu family to curry favor with others. After eating for a while, Chen Shanshu asked with a smile, "Chu Chen, how was your visit with your sister today? Haven't you decided yet?" After hearing Chen Shanshu's words, Chu Chen picked up his chopsticks, looked at Sha Qingqing, and said, "I don't have any problems here, so I'll just look at Sister Qingqing." Sha Qingqing naturally knew what Chu Chen was referring to, and immediately said guiltily, "I need to think about it." Chen Shanshu didn't know what was going on between Chu Chen and Sha Qingqing. She smiled and said, "Qingqing, what are you still thinking about? Wouldn't it be nice to settle down in Zhongyan? Open a clinic. It would be easy for my grandmother to see you whenever she wants, and you can always treat my health." Sha Qingqing quickly stammered, "Grandma, let me think about it." Chu Chen looked at Sha Qingqing, a playful glint appearing on the corner of his mouth. After dinner, Chen Shanshu asked Chu Chen to take Sha Qingqing back to the courtyard to rest. When they arrived at the courtyard, Chu Chen's expression turned serious and he turned around to look at Sha Qingqing who was following behind him. This woman has a good appearance and is wearing a white dress today, looking like a fairy. But the appearance is pure, not the heart. Sha Qingqing's heart couldn't help but jump again, and she said, "Brother Chu Chen, what's wrong?" Chu Chen asked coldly, "My grandma's illness is truly incurable and requires long-term treatment." Sha Qingqing's heart was beating like a drum, and she was terrified. She was indeed playing a trick. In order to have an excuse to stay in the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion for a long time, she deliberately said that the princess's illness was incurable. Could it be that Chu Chen also saw through this? How could he tell? I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe there's a way to cure it completely. Sha Qingqing said ambiguously. Chu Chen saw it immediately and said calmly, "Sister, I'll give you a month, is that okay?" Brother Chu Chen, I'm not 100% sure either. 1 month. Chu Chen interrupted Sha Qingqing and said, "I'm not discussing with you that my grandma's illness must be cured within a month. It's time now, let's go." After that, he turned around and left. He didn't give Sha Qingqing any chance to shirk her responsibility, nor did he want to listen to her nonsense. Chu Chen's thoughts and feelings are highly integrated with his predecessors. He knows that the princess has been the one who doted on him the most since he was a child. Therefore, anyone who makes a fuss about the princess is challenging Chu Chen's bottom line. Not to mention that Sha Qingqing was playing tricks and he saw through it. Even if it was true, she would have to be cured in a month. Sha Qingqing looked at Chu Chen's back as he left, and she felt like she was about to collapse. Who is this person? Have you always been so ruthless? Turning into the courtyard, she took out her cell phone and called Li Yue to report. "Sister, Chu Chen said he would take me to a special place in 3 days. I can't wait any longer. He will definitely do something bad to me. Can I go back to Zhongbei? Old 9, don't forget the mission Godfather gave us. Put the overall situation first. But big sister, if you really can't stand it, find someone you like first, give your body to him, and then go see that Chu Chen." After hearing what Li Yue said, Sha Qingqing was stunned. "I didn't expect that my elder sister would come up with such a bad idea." But Sha Qingqing also thought of a problem and said, "But if Chu Chen finds out about this, he will kill me. Then you figure it out yourself. There's one more important thing, finding our brother, and that needs to happen quickly. Also, I've already investigated that woman, Shen Qing. She doesn't have any background, so I plan to teach her a lesson and avenge all my years of hard work that went to waste because of her." There was a vicious glint in Li Yue's beautiful eyes. That Shen Qing, an ordinary woman, caused Li Yue's years of hard work to go to waste. She couldn't help but feel unhappy about this. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 days, the Shen family's business reached a new peak and signed another 500 million yuan deal. Now it is like a giant dragon, showing the momentum of taking off. This engagement was even more lively than the last one. Now, in just half a month, the Shen family has become a rising star in Zhonghai. Shen Qing had a great reputation, and countless friends in the business community began to curry favor with the Shen family. Therefore, when they learned that Shen Qing was getting engaged today, countless guests came spontaneously. It was only noon when luxury cars and crowds of people gathered outside the gate, just like a busy vegetable market. Shen Qing dressed up carefully in her boudoir, making herself look beautiful, then put on a black evening dress and a hat. As noble and charming as a princess. She turned around in front of the mirror, her skirt fluttering like a fairy. Zhou Ruaoshui next to him immediately said enviously, "Shen Qing, you are so beautiful. Today Yi Fan will be the most envied man in the world." "Ruaoshui, it's just an engagement, there's no need to be so exaggerated." Shen Qing was delighted, and her heart felt as sweet as if she had eaten candy. Although she was angry about Zhou Ruazu's betrayal, Shen Qing forgave Zhou Ruaoshui when she knew that Chu Chen took advantage of her because her father was sick and needed money, and the two reconciled. But Zhou Ruaoshui was feeling remorse in her heart. "Shen Qing, I'm sorry." With the Shen family's recent rapid development momentum, Shen Qing and Yi Fan's engagement has attracted more attention. And because Chu Chen had once disrupted Shen Qing and Yi Fan's engagement party, many people were wondering whether that evil young man would come again today. Some people thought of it, but they had the same idea as Shen Qing. Chu Chen hadn't looked for Shen Qing for so long, so he probably forgot Shen Qing completely after playing with her. After all, how could a playboy like Chu Chen be so loyal to a woman? Most of the time, he would no longer care about her after getting her. Just thinking about how Shen Qing had been abused by Chu Chen, I admired Yi Fan's tolerance. But what can Yi Fan do? Can he take revenge on Chu Chen? Definitely not. Have no choice. Everyone could understand the helplessness of Yi Fan's fiance being abused and humiliated. When he met Chu Chen, what else could he do except endure? This is Chu Chen's power. In Zhonghai, no one dares to refuse him, and I am not bragging. Of course, the methods used to deal with Shen Qing and Yi Fan are different from ordinary methods. Ordinary people can just be killed and destroyed, but for Shen Qing and Yi Fan, Chu Chen felt that it was too easy for them. "Master, it's ready." Wu Dao walked behind Chu Chen in front of the window, his attitude as respectful as ever. Chu Chen turned around and said, "Let's go pick up Sha Qingqing first. Miss Sha is actually quite good. The princess likes her very much. I need your consideration." Wu Dao said something more. The Chu family has only one son for 3 generations, so this matter is the top priority for the Chu family. Wu Dao also received a hint from King Zhongyan, asking him to find a way to persuade Chu Chen to sow a seed of fire for the Chu family. It's strange that Chu Chen has been playing with women like crazy outside, but none of them has gotten pregnant. Wu Dao even suspected that the young master had damaged his body. After hearing what Wu Dao said, Chu Chen turned around and looked at Wu Dao coldly. Wu Dao immediately endured it. The two of them then left Hongye Villa, looked at the limited edition Maibach worth 20 million, and went to the Zhongyan prince's palace first. "Go pick up Sha Qingqing. She is Yi Fan's 9th sister. I just don't know how she would react when she saw Yi Fan being brutally beaten today." Chu Chen sat in the boss seat in the back row, watching the wheels roll by and countless red maple leaves flying in the sky, and sneered. At this time, in the Zhongyan prince's mansion, in the small courtyard where Sha Qingqing lived. Sha Qingqing spent the whole day in anxiety and tension. She heard that it would be very painful for a woman's first time. She also heard that Chu Chen was a bastard who was good at all kinds of things. She didn't know how many women had been tortured by him and how many women had been made to suffer a fate worse than death by him. So, she was particularly afraid of today. Time passes little by little. Sha Qingqing's nervousness and anxiety will only increase as time goes by. Sha Qingqing was actually startled when she heard the cell phone ringing. She thought it was Chu Chen calling, so she nervously picked up the phone to check. When she saw it was her elder sister Li Yue calling, she breathed a sigh of relief. "Sister, what do you want to tell me?" "Qingqing, have you seen that Chu Chen?" Li Yue was sitting in the back seat of a Rolls-Royce Phantom, followed by 18 Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedans, and her queen's aura was undoubtedly displayed. Her eyes were also cold. She had heard her godfather mention the name Chu Chen countless times, and the meaning of her existence, Li Yue, was to disintegrate the Zhongyan prince's mansion, destroy the Chu family, and kill that prodigal son. He hasn't arrived yet, but he should be here soon. "Big sister, I really don't want to, can I?" Sha Qingqing wanted to cry. "In order to destroy the Chu family, to destroy the Zhongyan palace, and for my godfather's grand plan, all sacrifices are worth it. At worst, when I execute that bastard Chu Chen in the future, I will hand him over to you. Li Yue's tone was cold and ruthless. The Tianxia group, which she heads, has a rapid development momentum and now has the potential to catch up with or even surpass the Zhongyan group. Moreover, with Li Yue's pride, she is confident that she can do it. That Chu Chen is nothing but a prodigal son. Zhongyan group will only get worse under his control, while she, Li Yue, can continue to expand Tianxia group. As a result, one gains while the other loses. Tianxia group will be number one in the world sooner or later. This is also the origin of the name Tianxia group. Qingqing, I'm going to Zhongyan today to look for Shen Qing. I'll call you after I'm done with this. It'll be a while since we've seen each other. And I've already notified Old 8. Li Yue immediately said again. Sha Qingqing was surprised to hear that Li Yue had come to Zhongyan. She asked, Sister, why did you suddenly think of coming to Zhongyan? Guo Changshan was killed, and all my years of hard work went to waste. I feel uneasy thinking about it. I still have to go meet Shen Qing in person to find out what happened. Also, I can't stand this. Li Yue has always been brooding over the destruction of the Guo family. Sister, maybe she's just an innocent woman who happened to be involved. Sister, she's innocent. Guo Changshan and his family of dozens of people aren't innocent. Qingqing, you're just too kind. That's it for now, I have a call to take. After Li Yue hung up the phone, Sha Qingqing took a deep breath and continued to put on her makeup. But after putting on makeup for a while, she suddenly became angry and wondered why she had to dress up so beautifully. Does that bad guy want my virginity and I have to please him? Young master. Just as I was thinking this, I heard a greeting from downstairs. Sha Qingqing looked downstairs. My heart couldn't help but skip a beat. Sha Qingqing saw Chu Chen and his follower Wu Da walking into the courtyard where Sha Qingqing lived. Then Wu Da's follower stayed at the door, and only Chu Chen walked into the living room on the first floor. Sha Qingqing felt the pressure, took a deep breath, quickly tidied her appearance, left the bedroom, and walked downstairs. On the stairs, I saw Chu Chen sitting on the sofa in the living room, looking at me with sharp eyes. Every time she saw Chu Chen's eyes, Sha Qingqing felt as if she was naked and had been seen naked by him. Brother Chu Chen, you're here. I've been waiting for you all day. Sha Qingqing forced a smile and said to Chu Chen. Chu Chen glanced at Sha Qingqing, a sneer of disdain flashing across his lips. This woman is still acting, her acting skills are indeed extraordinary. Sister Qingqing, let's go. Chu Chen didn't say much, just stood up and walked out. Sha Qingqing gritted her teeth secretly. This man was not only arrogant and overbearing, but also had no manners at all. He didn't even wait for her. Then he quickly went down the stairs, followed him, and asked with a smile, You said before that you would take me to a very special place. What place is it? Chu Chen glanced at Sha Qingqing and said, You'll know when you get there. As he spoke, he noticed that Sha Qingqing seemed to have dressed up specially. He remembered what he had said to her before and wondered if she thought he was going to take her virginity today. He asked, Is your relationship over? Sha Qingqing's heart immediately tightened. She said, that thing is over, but that'll do. Chu Chen turned around and continued walking out. Sha Qingqing became even more nervous, thinking that Chu Chen was going to take her first blood. Following Chu Chen's pace, he kept thinking about how to deal with it. Even now, despite Li Yue's various persuasions, Sha Qingqing was still unwilling to give up her life. After getting in the car, seeing Sha Qingqing's nervous look along the way, he guessed why Sha Qingqing was nervous and sneered in his heart. What is this woman thinking? The goal tonight is not to get first blood. Ellipsis. Everyone in the Shen family was smiling. At this time, Fan Changwen, chairman of Haitian International, and a group of real estate tycoons from Zhonghai, such as the CEOs of well-known real estate companies such as Changsheng Real Estate, Daihao International, Triumph Kingdom, and Guanshanju, arrived in a grand manner. As soon as the convoy arrived, it immediately caused a sensation in the Shen family. Shen Wansen did not dare to delay and immediately led Shen Yuanchao and other people from the Shen family to the gate to welcome them. As soon as he saw Fan Changwen get out of the car, Shen Wansen smiled even more and greeted him with a smile. Chairman Fan, you can take time out of your busy schedule to attend Shen Qing's engagement party. It is an honor for my Shen family and also an honor for Shen Qing. Thank you very much. Also, if it weren't for Chairman Fan's support and giving our Shen family a big order, there would be no Shen family today. Shen Wanson remembered that when he was at his lowest point, it was Fan Changwen who cooperated with the Shen family, which led to a chain reaction and created the Shen family of today. Fan Changwen glanced at Shen Wanson and said with a smile, "Master Shen is too polite. Miss Shen is outstanding in ability and capable in her work. I, Fan Changwen, like her because of her ability, not because of any personal connections." Quote. When Shen Wanson heard Fan Changwen praising Shen Qing, he immediately felt proud again, but he still said modestly, "That also requires Chairman Fan to give her a chance. Everyone, please come in." After that, he turned around and personally welcomed a group of real estate tycoons into the Shen family hall. With the arrival of bigwigs such as Fan Changwen, there was an immediate sensation at the scene. Everyone was extremely envious. Ms. Shen is so prestigious that even Chairman Fan of Haitian International came in person. There's also Changsheng Real Estate, Triumph Kingdom. Basically, all the most powerful real estate tycoons in Zhonghai are here. The Shen family is going to become number one in the building materials industry. With a daughter like this in the Shen family, what else could a husband ask for? Oh, it's impossible not to be envious. Comparing yourself to others makes you angry. Look at Miss Shen, look at my daughter. She only cares about buying brand name bags all day long. It makes me angry. Hearing the noise at the scene, Fan Changwen and the big guys in the same group looked at each other and understood each other tacitly. Does her Shen family have such face? The truly prestigious ones haven't arrived yet. Under Shen Wanson's introduction, Yi Fan also greeted Fan Changwen and others one by one and said hello. Fan Changwen looked at Yi Fan and said with a smile, "You are Miss Shen's fiance. You are indeed handsome and talented. You and Miss Shen are a perfect match made in heaven. Congratulations." Hearing Fan Changwen's praise, Yi Fan smiled even more and said politely, "Chairman Fan, you are too kind. I am marrying up to Shen Qing." Fan Changwen said with a smile, "The most important thing about marriage is that two people like each other. What's the point of marrying above your station? Don't underestimate yourself. Besides, I don't think Miss Shen is that kind of person." Yi Fan quickly added, "That's right, Shen Qing is the best woman in the world." After talking for a while, Yi Fan developed a special liking for Fan Changwen. "I feel that this big boss who runs Haitian International is very approachable and does not judge people by their appearance, which is very rare in this snobbish era." In the blink of an eye, it was time. Yi Fan picked up a ring box he had carefully prepared and walked towards Shen Qing, who was walking down from upstairs in a white long dress and looked like a fairy. He liked Shen Qing, so he spent a lot of money on the engagement ring, spending 3 years' salary, 180,000 yuan, to buy a diamond ring. He wants to let Shen Qing see his feelings today. Shen Qing walked down and looked at Yi Fan, with a happy light in her beautiful eyes. "Let's keep the engagement ceremony simple and skip the unnecessary formalities. Yi Fan, put the engagement ring on her. Shen Qing will be handed over to you from now on. You must treat her well." Shen Wanson was also a person who was not bound by etiquette. Seeing Shen Qing coming down, he immediately smiled and said, "Pa pa pa." The whole audience applauded and everyone looked at them with envy. Only Zhou Ruaoshui kept looking at the door. She knew that person would come. However, unexpectedly, Yi Fan put the engagement ring directly on Shen Qing's jade finger. Applause broke out again. Congratulations came one after another. Zhou Ruaoshui was surprised. According to that evil young man's style, shouldn't he have showed up when they were exchanging engagement rings, and then completely revealed his cards, making Shen Qing and Yi Fan feel desperate? How come there is such an operation as exchanging rings? Is he stuck in traffic? Like Zhou Ruaoshui, the bigwigs in the real estate industry were also surprised. They all had smiles on their faces, but since Chu Chen hadn't arrived, no one dared to reveal their true colors. They could only continue to play out the show with Yi Fan and Shen Qing in confusion. When Shen Qing heard the blessings from all around, she felt filled with happiness. The haze of having her virginity taken away by that evil man a few days ago and having a misunderstanding with Yi Fan and canceling the engagement was completely gone. She is already Yi Fan's fiance. She glanced at Yi Fan with her beautiful eyes, and her heart felt as sweet as if she had eaten honey. Yi Fan was excited and felt happy when he looked at Shen Qing. "Okay, the engagement ceremony is over. Let's start the banquet. Shen Qing, you and Yi Fan will toast Chairman Fan and all the real estate executives." Seeing that the two were officially engaged, Shen Wanson smiled and felt that his life would be complete if he could only have a great-grandson. Yi Fan and Shen Qing agreed immediately. They went to Fan Changwen and started toasting him. Ellipsis. At this time, a Maibach finally arrived at the gate of the Shen family. There was indeed a traffic jam. Even though Chu Chen was the #1 villain in Zhongnyan, he was unable to clear the traffic. So even though he called the traffic department to come and deal with it, he was still late. After getting out of the car, Chu Chen looked up at the Shen family villa. Hearing the laughter coming from inside, he guessed it was very lively inside. Looking at Sha Qingqing, who got out of the car later, he sneered secretly and said, "We're here, let's go in." Sha Qingqing was very surprised. She thought Chu Chen was going to take her to the hotel, but they ended up here. She couldn't help but be curious. She took a look and asked, "What are we doing here?" Chu Chen said, "I'll take you to see a good show, let's go." Then he grabbed Sha Qingqing's wrist and walked inside. Wu Da trotted out of the car, locked it, and ran quickly to the front. As soon as they entered the Shen family's gate, the Shen family's housekeeper was instructing the servants in the yard. When he saw the 3 people walking in, he was immediately stunned and uttered a word, "Chu. Chu." Several servants who were talking to the butler felt strange that the butler was stuttering today. When they turned around and saw him, they were all shocked. Chu Chen ignored the people from the Shen family and directly took Wu Da and Sha Qingqing into the lobby of the main building of the Shen family villa. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw it was full of guests. There was laughter and joy everywhere. The atmosphere was really good. Yi Fan and Shen Qing were toasting together. Chu Chen's sharp eyes saw the engagement ring on Shen Qing's hand, and he knew that the engagement ceremony was over and the two were engaged. He couldn't help but sneer in his heart, engaged already. That's even better, it will let them experience what it means to ride a roller coaster. Quote, "Ahem. It seems Chu Chen, am still late. The banquet has already started, I wonder if there is still a place for me, Chu Chen." Chu Chen coughed twice, cleared his throat, and spoke loudly. The guests in the room were toasting each other happily, but when they suddenly heard Chu Chen's voice, they were all startled and turned to look at the door. Sure enough, I saw a tall young man wearing a black slim suit standing at the door. Everyone's movements became stiff. It was as if a movie was playing and someone suddenly pressed the freeze button. When Shen Qing heard Chu Chen's voice, she turned around and was immediately shocked. He came again. What on earth would this evil man do to let me go? Shen Wansen's smile began to stiffen, and then he was filled with fear. Would the Shen family be wiped out like the Guo family? Yi Fan immediately gnashed his teeth, rubbed his hands together, and shouted angrily, "Chu Chen, we didn't invite you, what are you doing here? I'm here for your engagement party, what else can I do?" Chu Chen sneered and immediately pulled Sha Qingqing towards the main table opposite. Sha Qingqing didn't know what Chu Chen was up to, and wondered in her heart, seeing him like this, is he going to ruin someone else's engagement? But why would you ruin someone else's engagement? The real estate tycoons at the main table saw Chu Chen coming, and they did not dare to be arrogant at all. They immediately stood up and bowed respectfully to Chu Chen, "Mr. Chu." Chu Chen glanced at Fan Changwen and the others calmly and said, "Why didn't you wait for me?" Fan Changwen quickly said, "Mr. Chu, we wanted to come here earlier to help you understand the situation." Chu Chen hummed. Fan Changwen hurriedly pulled out a chair next to him and said, "Mr. Chu, please sit down." Chu Chen walked over and sat down on the chair. Everyone in the audience saw this scene, and they were all confused and full of question marks. What's going on? Chairman Fan is so respectful to Mr. Chu, and it seems like they have made an appointment to come together. What's going on? Shen Wansen immediately had a bad feeling. Could it be that the recent rapid growth of the Shen family's business was all due to this rich young man's conspiracy? So what does he want to do? Shen Wansen felt even more terrified when he thought about it, and wiped the cold sweat from his forehead with his sleeve. Before he could remind Shen Qing had already spoken. "Chu Chen, I told you last time that you are not welcome in our Shen family. Yi Fan and I are officially engaged. I'm already wearing the engagement ring. I'm already Yi Fan's fiance. Give up on this idea. I won't give in." Shen Qing immediately announced her destination in hope that Chu Chen would stop pestering her. Chu Chen glanced at Shen Qing and noticed the diamond ring on her hand. He sneered and said, "How much is this ring worth? 200,000, 300,000. Haha, is this the price of you, the most beautiful woman in Zhonghai?" When Shen Qing heard Chu Chen humiliating Yi Fan for being poor, she couldn't help but yelled angrily, "Chu Chen, don't humiliate me. I tell you, Shen Qing, don't care whether he has money or not, as long as he treats me well. Also, what if you bought Haining Building Materials City? There is always a way out. I, Shen Qing, and the Shen family are doing just fine now. I don't need you to do that. I, Shen Qing, and the Shen family can also develop. Hearing Shen Qing's innocent words, Chu Chen smiled again. Shen Qing had no idea that the prosperity and rapid development of her Shen family was all driven by Chu Chen. What she wanted was for Shen Qing to experience the feeling of going from heaven to hell. She, Shen Qing, must also pay the price for her arrogant and ignorant words. She would never ask Chu Chen for help. Chu Chen really wanted to see if she could really not ask him, Chu Chen, for help. Shen Qing, do you feel particularly proud, confident, and proud now? Do you want to say something else? Don't look down on the poor young man. Things will change over time. Chu Chen said with a smile. So what? I, Shen Qing, can also contribute to the Shen family now. Even if you make trouble in Haining Building Materials City, there is always a way out. My Shen family will still be fine. Shen Qing really felt proud, and the feeling was particularly strong when he thought of what Chu Chen had said. She paused, then continued, Chu Chen, if it weren't for your family's background and wealth, you would be nothing but a waste. You are worse than the average person. The more Shen Qing spoke, the more outrageous his words became, and the more comfortable he felt. She herself didn't think there was anything wrong. But everyone in the Shen family was terrified. Was she challenging Chu Chen's authority in person? Chu Chen couldn't stop laughing when he heard Shen Qing's words. As expected, this woman was really so naive. There is always a way out, right? Can Shen Qing still become the savior of the Shen family? Although it has come to this, Chu Chen is not in a hurry to confront Shen Qing. Seeing her ignorant look makes me feel really good. Really? I, Chu Chen, am indeed a loser, but you, Shen Qing, aren't much better either. Chu Chen sneered. Haha, I can get orders worth over 1 billion for my Shen family. What about you? Besides squandering money, what else can you do? Shen Qing continued to taunt. Shen Qing, shut up. How can you talk to Mr. Chu like that? Seeing that Shen Qing was becoming more and more excessive, Shen Wansen was afraid that something might happen, so he couldn't help but scold him. But Shen Qing was so angry at Chu Chen that he had already lost his mind. He turned around and said, Grandpa, this kind of person has no ability except bullying others. Yes, you are right. I, Chu Chen, will bully others and do whatever I want by relying on my family's wealth. So what? Haha, Shen Qing, you're not really naive enough to think that the Shen family's recent rapid development is really your credit, right? Is this world that easy? Let me tell you, reality and truth are often cruel. When Chu Chen said this, he couldn't help but want to reveal his cards. Sha Qingqing was standing by, and when she saw Shen Qing's expression, she had a strong premonition that this woman was going to be in trouble. However, thinking that it was Shen Qing who caused the destruction of the Guo family, he also had the mentality of watching the show. This woman should be punished accordingly and deserves to be bullied by Chu Chen. When Sha Qingqing saw Shen Qing's fiance Yi Fan, she felt even more contempt for him. I heard that this guy is a delivery man, he has nothing. What's wrong with this woman's eyes that she would fall for such a poor loser? Sha Qingqing could never have imagined that the brother that the 9 sisters had been looking for was the waste in front of them. It seems that Yi Fan really has nothing particularly outstanding about him, so he despises Shen Qing and Yi Fan. She had no idea of the real purpose of Chu Chen bringing her here today. When Shen Qing heard Chu Chen's words, even though he realized it late, he began to react. Her heart was shaken, and she looked at Chu Chen, her beautiful eyes full of vigilance. Chu Chen, what do you mean? Chu Chen snapped his fingers. Fan Changwen and the others understood and stepped forward together, respectfully bowing to Chu Chen again. Greetings, Master Chu. Chu Chen said to Fan Changwen calmly, Chairman Fan, you should tell her the truth. Tell her not to bully the poor young. Not everyone can say that. Yes, Mr. Chu. Fan Changwen respectfully accepted the order, then turned and squinted at Shen Qing, sneering, Miss Shen, you don't really think that your abilities are so outstanding that I, Fan Changwen, look at you differently, do you? Let me tell you, the truth is that the major shareholder behind Haitian International is Mr. Chu. Mr. Chu asked me to find you. Except for our Haitian International, all the major orders your Shen family has received were given by young Master Chu. Haha, don't you think about it. If it weren't for Master Chu's order, who in Zhonghai would dare to do business with your Shen family? Miss Shen, you should be smarter and not be so naive. Fan Changwen said one sentence at a time. Fan Changwen's words gradually broke down Shen Qing's psychological defenses, breaking Shen Qing's defenses on the spot. What did you say? Haitian International is his. All the big orders our Shen family has recently received were given to me by him. Why? Why? Chu Chen, why are you doing this? Shen Qing couldn't understand and screamed hysterically. There is indeed only a thin line between heaven and hell. She thought that the Shen family would flourish under her leadership, and she was engaged to Yi Fan, and that the clouds would finally clear and the moon would appear. Who knew that all this was just Chu Chen's trick? Chu Chen, why is Chu Chen targeting me like this? How did I offend him? What on earth would it take for him to let go? Shen Qing felt desperate and felt insignificant in front of Chu Chen. It turns out that I have been played in his hands all along. The previous pride was completely shattered in an instant. At the beginning, she did have suspicions that Haitian International's approach to her Shen family might be due to Chu Chen's conspiracy. But later he was deceived by Fan Changwen's words and actually believed it. After that, various orders came to his door, and Shen Qing became even more arrogant. I have long forgotten that this is Zhonghai, this is Zhongyan. When Sha Qingqing saw Shen Qing's expression, she felt gloating because she didn't know Yi Fan's identity. This ignorant woman deserved it for ruining her elder sister's years of hard work. Chu Chen, why do you treat me like this? What do you want in exchange for letting me go? Shen Qing felt desperate. Chu Chen wrote so many articles, it was obvious that they were targeting her, Shen Qing. She probably already guessed what would happen next. But even if she could guess, she couldn't do anything about it. This has just begun. You can't accept it. Fan Changwen, it's your turn to speak next. Chu Chen ignored Shen Qing and did not show any mercy. He turned around and looked at Fan Changwen, and gave him a faint instruction. From now on, all agreements signed between our Haitian International and the Shen family are invalid. Fan Changwen immediately puffed out his chest and spoke loudly. Our cooperation with the Shen family has been cancelled. The cooperation between our Triumph Kingdom and the Shen family is also cancelled. How could Embrand International possibly cooperate with a small family like the Shen family? This is unbecoming and may have a negative impact on our Embrand International. The cooperation is cancelled immediately. Guanshanju's partners have always been large companies. The Shen family is not worthy. Elephant Real Estate will terminate its cooperation with the Shen family from now on. Ellipsis. Following Fan Changwen's lead, the real estate tycoons who arrived early announced the termination of their cooperation with the Shen family. The guests at the scene originally thought that the Shen family was on the rise and came to curry favor with them, but when they saw this scene, they were all dumbfounded. Just like that, the Shen family is finished. Shen Wansen's eyes went dark and he fell down. Dad! Shen Yuanchao and others rushed over shouting. Shen Qing felt heartbroken. Shen Wansen was helped up and opened his eyes, murmuring in despair, it's over, the Shen family is completely finished. It turned out that the Shen family had won so many large orders, which was definitely not possible with their original scale. Therefore, the Shen family had already borrowed money from the bank to expand their scale. Therefore, now that all these orders have been cancelled, the Shen family will not only lose the orders, but will also have to face debt collection from the bank. They may go bankrupt at any minute and be doomed to failure. This is Chu Chen's purpose. Fan Changwen and Wu Da both understood why Chu Chen had to go through so much trouble to give the Shen family so many orders, pushing them to the top and then pushing them down. Not only does he want to make the Shen family experience the feeling of going from heaven to hell, but he also wants to put them in an abyss from which there is no escape. And all the words Shen Qing said in front of Chu Chen were a joke. In the face of absolute strength, what qualifications does she have? In the face of absolute strength, her provocation will only bring greater disaster to the Shen family and implicate more people. When Shen Qing saw Shen Wansen fall down, tears welled up in her beautiful eyes. Those were tears of despair. Those were tears of regret. Because of her, the Shen family was going to lose everything. Chu Chen, I was wrong. I beg you, please let me go. Shen Qing realized that she could only ask for help from the bad guy Chu Chen, otherwise there would be no possibility of surviving the current crisis. She made up her mind and lowered her proud head. You're wrong. You beg me. Shen Qing, I remember you told me before that you would never bow to me and would never beg me. Are you serious? Chu Chen sneered. Chu Chen, don't bully Shen Qing. I know you are taking revenge on the Shen family because of me. I, Yi Fan, will take responsibility for my own actions. If you have any tricks, come at me. Seeing Shen Qing being bullied to despair by Chu Chen, Yi Fan couldn't help but feel indignant. He stood up and rubbed his hands ready to fight. Because of you. Yi Fan, do you think too highly of yourself? Do you deserve it? Yi Fan, have you forgotten what happened last time? Do you want to stand up and play the hero again? Wu Da, slap your face. Chu Chen sneered disdainfully. Wu Da immediately obeyed the order loudly, walked over with his palm raised, grabbed Yi Fan's collar, and slapped him twice. Chu Chen sneered, he has no idea what he is talking about. He doesn't know his own limitations. Who does he think he is? Sister Qingqing, don't you think so? Then he turned around and asked Sha Qingqing. Sha Qingqing had no idea that Yi Fan was the younger brother they had been looking for. A smile immediately appeared on her face, and she said, this kind of person deserves to be beaten. He doesn't know his own weight and dares to challenge the authority of brother Chu Chen. Sister Qingqing, you also think he deserves a beating? Then why not be a little more ruthless? Teach him a lesson, Chu Chen said to Sha Qingqing with a smile. Sha Qingqing said, it depends on what you want to say. No need to ask me. Chu Chen said, the fate of Yi Fan is in your hands. Sister Qingqing, I'll listen to you. Just tell me whether you want to continue teaching him a lesson. Sha Qingqing looked at Chu Chen and knew that although Chu Chen was asking her on the surface, he actually had an idea in mind. Moreover, Yi Fan and Shen Qing were indeed annoying. She immediately smiled and said, I don't think it's enough. Really? I think so too. Chu Chen smiled, then turned around, his face darkening, and said to Shen Qing, Shen Qing, I heard that you and Yi Fan are going to get a marriage certificate tomorrow. Well, I'll give you a chance now. Immediately declare your engagement with Yi Fan invalid. Besides, Yi Fan is a loser. If you come to my villa tonight, I can change my mind. After hearing Chu Chen's words, the scene immediately became chaotic. Chu Chen wanted Shen Qing to go to his villa, and his purpose was self-evident. When Shen Qing heard Chu Chen's words, he smiled even more bitterly. Of course, she also knew why Chu Chen wanted her to go to the villa. That villa is Shen Qing's nightmare. She never wanted to take another step. Shen Qing, don't listen to him. You can't listen to him. I will never compromise. We absolutely cannot give in. As soon as Yi Fan heard Chu Chen's words, he immediately shouted nervously. He was afraid that if Shen Qing agreed, Shen Qing would fall into Chu Chen's clutches again. Chu Chen's villa was a source of humiliation for Yi Fan. When Yi Fan thought of what happened before, his heart was broken and he was anxious. He only hated himself for being incompetent, unable to protect Shen Qing or fight against Chu Chen. When Shen Qing heard Yi Fan's words, she looked at him, her beautiful eyes full of pain and despair. She wanted to be with Yi Fan. She didn't care that Yi Fan had no money. However, the bad guy Chu Chen is aggressive. If they don't agree, the Shen family will go bankrupt, and the consequences will be 100 times more serious than the previous cancellation of Haining Building Materials City's qualifications. Her family will be left homeless on the streets. She, Shen Qing, will become the sinner of the Shen family. Yes, Shen Qing, you are Shen Qing. You must never bow to someone like me. Don't agree. If you agree, I will be disappointed. Chu Chen looked at Shen Qing and sneered. Shen Qing. Shen Yuanchao looked at Shen Qing and shouted. Everyone in the Shen family looked at Shen Qing. The fate of their Shen family depends on Shen Qing's decision. How could he be so vicious? How can he bully others like this? Doesn't he have any conscience? Not only did he take away her virginity, he also forced her into a desperate situation. Shen Qing couldn't understand it. He looked at the people from the Shen family and then at Yi Fan. Her heart seemed to be split in two. The pulling is uncomfortable. On one side is her beloved Yi Fan, and on the other side is her family. She had just gotten engaged to Yi Fan, who spent several years' salary to buy her a diamond ring. The value of the diamond ring itself is nothing. What is precious is Yi Fan's sincerity towards her. Shen Qing was torn between his conscience and his desires, and he couldn't make a decision for a while. Agreeing to Chu Chen's conditions at this time would be like stabbing Yi Fan in the heart. Not only did he have to cancel his engagement with him, but he also had to go to Chu Chen's villa. It's easy to imagine how uncomfortable Yi Fan would feel. Humiliation and torture again and again. Yi Fan must be feeling very sad. Shen Qing closed her beautiful eyes, and 2 lines of tears rolled down uncontrollably. Finally, she knelt down. She kowtowed to Chu Chen. Chu Chen, I beg you, I really beg you, please let me go. You have already got what you wanted, there is no need for you to argue with a woman like me. Have I gotten what I wanted? Not necessarily. Shen Qing, I won't compromise on my words. You can make your own decision. Chu Chen sneered. Thinking of the tragic ending, I will never be soft-hearted. Her predecessor licked her for so many years, even animals would have feelings. But in the end, she watched indifferently as her predecessor was brutally killed by Yi Fan. Her heart is made of stone. There's no need to be soft-hearted towards such people. I heard that Chu Chen refused to give in. Shen Qing closed her beautiful eyes again, unable to make up her mind. Give me 1 day, okay. I'll give you an answer within 1 day. Shen Qing then pleaded. You still need to think about it. 1 day. Fine, I'll give you 1 day, but after 1 day, there's no turning back. Chu Chen agreed immediately after hearing Shen Qing's words. She still has to think about it and struggle with it. That was just right, prolonging her inner pain and struggle. Chu Chen was happy to see it. He stood up, glanced at Yi Fan, and turned back to ask Sha Qingqing, Sister Qingqing, this person doesn't know his place. Last time, he even declared his determination in front of me and vowed revenge. How do you think we should deal with such a person? Sha Qingqing heard Chu Chen's words and smiled. Brother Chu Chen, he actually dared to point to Gigi. He deserves it. Doesn't he know who you are? My thought is, doesn't he like to cut off his finger? How about cutting off another finger? Chu Chen asked with a smile. Sha Qingqing began to feel strange. Why does Chu Chen always ask for her opinion when he tortures his love rival? Is he trying to show off in front of her? Brother Chu Chen, no matter what you do, it's not my turn to speak. Sha Qingqing said with a smile. Chu Chen said, I really want to know, Sister Qingqing, do you want to see him break another finger? He narrowed his eyes as he spoke. Sha Qingqing immediately felt the pressure and said, whatever you think is what I think. I will always stand by your side. Chu Chen laughed. Sister Qingqing, you are really my good sister. When she said the 3 words, good sister, she pronounced them a little heavily. Of course, Sha Qingqing definitely couldn't hear it. Chu Chen turned around and ordered Wu Da, cut off another finger of his to let him know that he can't just say anything casually. Yes, master. Wu Da took the order, drew out his dagger, and cut it with 1 stroke. Don't want. Shen Qing cried out in pain. Ah! Yi Fan screamed as another finger was cut off. When all the guests saw Yi Fan's fingers cut off, they were all shocked and took a deep breath. Wu Da sneered and said, kid, remember this, let's see how many fingers you can break. Let's go. Shen Qing, remember, give me an answer within 1 day. Chu Chen immediately went out. Sha Qingqing hurried to catch up. Wu Da also looked at Yi Fan with disdain and quickly followed. Fan Changwen and others looked at each other and followed. The people from the Shen family looked at Chu Chen leaving with a deathly pale face. No one expected that the Shen family would be stepped down by Chu Chen just after they reached the top. Moreover, we are about to face an unprecedented crisis. If Shen Qing still refuses after 1 day, then the order and all cooperation will be lost. The Shen family will go bankrupt. Shen Qing watched Chu Chen walk out of the door, then he got up and wanted to go over to check Yi Fan's injuries. But took a step forward. Seeing Yi Fan's severed finger, I thought of the crisis facing the Shen family. Shen Qing stopped again. Yi Fan looked at his fingers in despair. He picked it up slowly. Unable to suppress the grief and anger in his heart, he roared to the sky. Yi Fan! Shen Qing shouted. Ellipsis. Chu Chen, Sha Qingqing, Fan Changwen and others walked out of the Shen family's gate. Fan Changwen and others saluted Chu Chen one after another. Chu Chen got into the car and said calmly, everyone go back. There's nothing else to do today. Yes, Mr. Chu. Take care, Master Chu. Fan Changwen and others immediately bowed 90 degrees. The car started. Chu Chen sat in the car and drove away. Fan Changwen and others all breathed a sigh of relief. Although they were accomplices in what happened to the Shen family today, they also witnessed the skills of this young master and were all terrified. They thought that anyone who messed with this young master would definitely have a nightmare for the rest of his life. Chu Chen's car drove out of the intersection and headed back. Chu Chen kept staring at Sha Qingqing. Sha Qingqing began to feel nervous. She thought of Chu Chen's previous request again. She was worried that Chu Chen would take action against her after he dealt with the Shen family's affairs. Brother Chu Chen, what are you looking at? Is my face dirty? Sha Qingqing reached out and touched her cheek, pretending to be relaxed. Chu Chen said, Sister Qingqing, you are so beautiful. Sha Qingqing was even more panicked and said, "As for me, I'm just average. I think Miss Shen is the truly beautiful one. No wonder brother Chu Chen is interested in her." Chu Chen said, "Although you are different, you all have your own merits and are equally beautiful. You are all equally stunning beauties." Quote. Sha Qingqing quickly said, "I'm just an ordinary woman, how can I be called a stunning beauty?" "Brother Chu Chen, you're praising me too much." Chu Chen said, "Sister Qingqing, don't underestimate yourself." Having said that, he paused for a moment, his eyes gleaming with amusement as he smiled and said, "Sister Qingqing, do you know what I'm thinking?" Sha Qingqing asked curiously, "Brother Chu Chen, what are you thinking about?" "I was thinking, that Yi Fan is really pitiful. Even now, we still don't know his true identity." Chu Chen chuckled. "His true identity? Isn't he a food delivery guy? What else could his true identity be?" Sha Qingqing was even more surprised. Chu Chen's words seemed to have hidden meanings and hidden mysteries. Chu Chen was wondering whether he should tell her the truth. Chu Chen thought about it and decided to keep the secret. After all, if I reveal Yi Fan's identity to Sha Qingqing now, things will become boring. He wanted Sha Qingqing to watch Yi Fan being abused, and then be kept in the dark, and treat him as Chu Chen's accomplice, and then reveal Yi Fan's identity. What kind of expression would Sha Qingqing have at that time? Actually, he doesn't have any special identity. Let's go back to the villa. Chu Chen then said with a smile. Sha Qingqing immediately became nervous again when she heard Chu Chen was going back to Hongye Villa. Last time on the street, Chu Chen wanted to be in the car with her. It was conceivable that when they arrived at Hongye Villa, no one would respond to her. So why would she just let him do whatever he wanted? "Brother Chu Chen, I want to go back to the palace. Please take me back first," Sha Qingqing said hurriedly. Chu Chen looked at Sha Qingqing and said, "It's still early, Sister Qingqing. I have a lot of things in my villa. I'll take you to see them." Didn't you tell Shen Qing to go to your villa?" "She might go. It's not appropriate for me to be here," Sha Qingqing said hurriedly. Chu Chen said, "It would be better if she came. Wouldn't it be more interesting if the three of us were together?" Sha Qingqing was stunned. What on earth was going on in this guy's head? In the car, 3-player game. As a still pure woman, Sha Qingqing naturally could not accept it. In her desperation, she suddenly thought of the princess of Zhongnan, and quickly said, "Brother Chu Chen, it really can't be done. I have an appointment with my grandmother to give her an acupuncture treatment. She is waiting for me." Chu Chen knew that Sha Qingqing was making excuses, but he also knew that Sha Qingqing was still innocent. It was not realistic to ask her to accept something too avant-garde all at once. Moreover, he really had to wait for Shen Qing today. He immediately changed his mind and asked Wu Da to drive Sha Qingqing back to the Prince of Zhongyan's mansion. Hearing Chu Chen change his words, Sha Qingqing patted her pink breasts and breathed a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that this bad guy would forcibly take her to Hongye Villa to play some 3-person game. "But I only relaxed for a moment before I became nervous again. Although I have passed this hurdle, what should I do next?" Ellipsis. The guests of the Shen family left faster than anyone else, knowing that the rise of the Shen family was directed by Chu Chen behind the scenes. Everyone realized Chu Chen's strength and attitude towards the Shen family. Anyone who got close to the Shen family might suffer. So, the Shen family, which was bustling just now, suddenly had all the guests gone and became deserted. The Shen family felt even more desperate. This time the Shen family was really finished. In addition to the cancellation of all orders, they also had to face debt collection from the bank. After venting his anger, Yi Fan was as dejected as a drowned rat. Faced with such a strong and domineering Chu Chen, he really couldn't think of any way he could fight back. He broke another finger today. How many fingers did he have left to break? The original book is about a loser's counterattack. This guy started out as a food delivery man. After offending Chu Chen, he met 9 sisters who helped him turn the tide and rise to prominence. In the end, he even brought down the powerful Chu family. Of course, Shen Qing played an important role in the middle. Because of Shen Qing, Chu Chen held back on Yi Fan, and ended up dying tragically. Now Yi Fan has met Sha Qingqing, but they did not recognize each other. Instead, under Chu Chen's deliberate instigation, Sha Qingqing became Chu Chen's accomplice to deal with Yi Fan. Shen Qing walked up to Yi Fan, looked at him with heartache, and was about to say a few words softly to comfort him. At this time, 18 black Mercedes-Benz S-Class sedans surrounded a Rolls-Royce Phantom and arrived at the gate of the Shen family in a menacing manner. As soon as 18 Mercedes-Benz S-Class cars stopped, men wearing sunglasses and black suits jumped out of the cars. Led by a man with a short haircut, a scar at the corner of his eye, and a fierce look on his face, they quickly lined up in a neat queue next to the Rolls-Royce Phantom and bowed 90 degrees. The scarred man was named Yang Hongbing, a retired soldier who had killed countless enemies. He was the bodyguard that Li Yue had hired at a high price. The car door opened, and Li Yue, who was wearing a black professional OL women's suit, got out of the car. She raised her eyes and glanced at the gate of the Shen family villa, with a cold look between her brows. Was it a woman from such a small family who caused Guo Changshan to be killed and the Guo family to be destroyed? Li Yue didn't say much and walked straight towards the Shen family's gate. Yang Hongbing immediately led the team in front to clear the way. When the Shen family's housekeeper saw him coming up and was about to ask, Yang Hongbing slapped him in the face and kicked him to the ground. Then two of his followers came forward and held the housekeeper down. The housekeeper was terrified. What was going on? He had just sent away one plague god, and now another one came. Who did the Shen family offend? Yang Hongbing was full of murderous intent and walked directly into the villa hall with his men in a menacing manner. Everyone in the Shen family was shocked when they saw Yang Hongbing coming in. Shen Qing's first reaction was, could it be that the bad guy was unwilling to give her even a day and sent someone else? Yi Fan wanted to cry even more. Just as the two men finished their thoughts, the people at the door parted ways and a cold and beautiful woman dressed in professional women's clothing, with a powerful aura and a queen-like appearance, walked into the hall. As soon as the woman walked in, she seemed to have a halo of her own and became the focus of everyone's attention. When everyone in the Shen family saw the woman, they were all startled. Who is this fairy? Li Yue looked around and asked, who is Shen Qing? Shen Qing panicked and replied, I am Shen Qing, who are you? Who I am? Li Yue glanced at Shen Qing coldly, then sneered, who am I? You are not worthy to ask. I came here to ask you something today. Bring her here to me. Li Yue was furious when she saw Shen Qing. All her years of hard work had gone to waste because of this woman, so she directly instructed Yang Hongbing. Yang Hongbing immediately agreed loudly and walked towards Shen Qing with a sullen face. Although Yi Fan had just been beaten by Wu Da and had a finger cut off, seeing that his beloved woman was in danger, even though he had just been abused, his masculinity burst out. He puffed out his chest, spread his arms, protected Shen Qing behind him, and shouted, what are you doing? The Tang Kingdom has laws, don't mess around. The law? Haha, you little brat, I'm telling you, in the Tang Kingdom, I am the law. The law is me. Li Yue sneered when she heard Yi Fan's childish words. He seemed to be a poor loser, but he was talking about the law. Haha, only the weak would talk like that. You kids still want to be a hero and save the beauty. Why don't you look in the mirror and see what you look like? Slap. Yi Fan in front of him had bloody fingers that had not been bandaged yet. He was wearing a fairly close-fitting suit. For this engagement, Yi Fan had invested heavily and spent more than $1,000 to buy a formal suit, which was half a month's salary for him. But even if it is still pretty good, in front of someone like Li Yue who is in charge of a trillion-dollar company, he is just a poor loser. Therefore, Yi Fan's shouting in person made Li Yue feel ridiculous. Such a loser wants to be a hero and save the beauty. Doesn't he know that bragging requires strength? And she, Li Yue, has such strength. Apart from Zhongyan Group, which company in the whole Tang Kingdom can be compared with Tianshai Group? So, she can say that the law is her, Li Yue. Bang! Yang Hongbing didn't hesitate at all. He stepped forward, grabbed Yi Fan by the collar, slapped him hard in the face, glared at him, and shouted, boy, you dare to yell at our chairman. You're still a hero saving the damsel in distress. Pa pa pa. Yi Fan was slapped several times in the face until his mouth was full of blood. Yi Fan had just been bullied by Chu Chen, and now he was beaten up again. He burst into anger on the spot. I can't afford to offend Chu Chen, so why should I be afraid of you? He lost his mind again and shouted, this is too much. I will fight you. He punched Yang Hongbing. Bang! Yang Hongbing was a strong man. Seeing Yi Fan dared to fight back, he became even more angry. He aimed a punch at Yi Fan's face, causing blood to flow from his mouth and nose. He then kicked Yi Fan to the ground. He grabbed Yi Fan's hair and said viciously, little trash, who gave you the courage? Fish Liang, how dare you fight me? Bang! Another kick sent Yi Fan rolling out like a dead dog. Hit me! Bang! 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 Li Yue shouted loudly, and the followers behind her immediately rushed forward and surrounded Yi Fan and beat him up. When Shen Qing saw Yi Fan being beaten, he immediately rushed forward and tried to pull away the people who were beating Yi Fan, but was grabbed by Yang Hongbing and dragged in front of Li Yue. Shen Qing shouted, "Who are you? Why are you hitting people? I don't know you. You don't know us. I know you. Shen Qing, let me take a good look at your harmful face." Li Yue pinched Shen Qing's chin, lifted Shen Qing's face up, and sneered, "As expected, she is good-looking and beautiful. No wonder she can hurt people. Let me ask you, what's the matter with Guo Changshan? Guo Changshan, who are you to Guo Changshan?" Shen Qing immediately panicked. "I'm asking you a question," Li Yue said coldly. "Guo Changshan, what else could be wrong with Guo Changshan? He tricked me into going to Longtang Real Estate and had bad intentions towards me. Then, Chu Chen, the only grandson of the king of Zhongyan, rushed over and killed him." Shen Qing clearly felt the terrifying power of Li Yue, which was even more terrifying than Chu Chen. After all, Chu Chen had licked her for a long time before, and she was more familiar with Chu Chen. This Li Yue was also strong and domineering, but everything was unknown. Unknown things are more terrifying. This is the psychology of a normal person. She thought that this overbearing woman in front of her might be someone like Guo Changshan, and her fear was intensified. "That's all," Li Yue said coldly. I didn't have much contact with Guo Changshan before, so what else could it be? He lied to me and said he wanted to discuss cooperation with me and asked me to go to his office to discuss it. But after I entered his office, he had someone lock the door from the outside and put something in my water." Shen Qing wanted to cry but had no tears. She was originally a victim, but she was the one who suffered in the end. "Tell me in detail how Guo Changshan was killed by Chu Chen." Li Yue shouted immediately. After Chu Chen arrived, Guo Changshan wanted to beg Chu Chen to spare him, but Chu Chen was a bastard. He forced me to beg him and even watched from the sidelines. Later, I begged him, and Guo Changshan was killed by him. Shen Qing said with a sad face. "Killed by him? How?" Li Yue said coldly. "Oh, right, Chu Chen seemed to have mentioned someone named Li Yue." Then Guo Changshan suddenly attacked Chu Chen, but was defeated by Chu Chen. Chu Chen then pulled out a silk thread, wrapped it directly around Guo Changshan's neck, and removed Guo Changshan's head. Shen Qing still feels horrified when he thinks of the scene that day. She used to think that man was just a playboy and a prodigal son, but she didn't expect him to be so powerful. "He mentioned me. He was able to defeat Guo Changshan and kill people with silk thread." There was a deep look in Li Yue's eyes. Sure enough, Guo Changshan's death was not as simple as it seemed. Sure enough, Guo Changshan's identity was discovered by Chu Chen. What surprised Li Yue the most was that according to her intelligence, Chu Chen was just a waste. However, Shen Qing's words now completely overturned it. He was able to defeat Guo Changshan, so he must be very strong. Killing people with silk thread is definitely not a playboy. I've told you everything I know. Please let me and my fiance go." Tears rolled down Shen Qing's pleading eyes. Yi Fan was still being beaten. This was the second time today. First, Chu Chen asked Wu Da to cut off his fingers, and now he was beaten by others. She felt sorry for Yi Fan. "Let you go. You're dreaming. I'm telling you, Shen Qing, you caused the murder of Guo Changshan's family. Li Yue, will never let this go." Li Yue gritted her teeth and said. "Are you Li Yue?" Shen Qing was shocked. She didn't expect that the person Chu Chen mentioned before killing Guo Changshan was right in front of her. "Come in." Li Yue ignored Shen Qing, tilted her head slightly, and let out a delicate cry. A middle-aged man with a middle-parted, traitorous hairstyle and a wretched appearance immediately ran in. "Mr. Li." The man nodded and bowed. "Tell them the Shen family about your bank's decision," Li Yue said coldly. It turns out that the bank where the Shen family applied for the loan, Sufeng Bank, is a subsidiary of Tianjia One Group. This time, Li Yue came to them not just to vent her anger. She also wants the Shen family to lose all their wealth and Shen Qing to pay a heavy price. "Master Shen, on behalf of Sufeng Bank, I formally inform you that you must repay the loan within 3 days. Otherwise, we will apply for compulsory execution." The man turned around to face Shen Wanson, and his demeanor immediately changed. He held his head high and chest out, not looking him in the eye. He is the general manager of Sufeng Bank's Zhongyan branch. Shen Wanson's eyes went dark and he fainted. Grandfather. Shen Qing screamed in despair.